aquí.
When Fidel goes down,
Increíble.
any could be any day now. No more his ugly face on Canal 23. When Fidel goes down to the bottom of the ocean, Thomas Garcia will stay. We'll have nothing left to say. When Fidel falls, I'll wager that even a stunt major will finally smoke decent cigars. And folks in Havana will rave when they trade in those pre-1958 cars.
Oh!
When Fidel goes down,
I'm dying over
El
here.
Diablo Comunista will make every day Monday through Sunday, or just like Sabido Gigante. No more his ugly face on Canal 23.
Bye-bye, Fidel. 10:28 at 560 WQAM. Happy Thursday to you. I hope this isn't the beginning of a precedent. You notice 2 days in a row that Howard bailed out a little before 10:30.
I think he's slacking.
A little before 10.
About 30, man.
Right.
Lazy.
Cut it out, Howie. I'm sure they had a lot more material. Robin had a lot more news. Boy, we got a lot of stuff today.
Good.
I don't want to do all this pedantic reading now on the air because it's too newsy, number one.
Right. We'll do some exciting reading then.
And I'm sure that the booby people out there, although the booby people got Nicole Richie today, which is a very rarely
Right.
will you see Nicole Richie boobies and all.
Not really published, and nobody knows about that picture yet. At least no one's talking about it.
Well, we'll get deeply into that a little bit later on. First of all, as far as Fidel is concerned, I'm sure you're aware of this story.
Oh, yeah. We saw the pictures.
President Fidel fell as he left the stage after a televised speech last night, but he quickly recovered his composure, assured Cubans he was all in one piece. Piece of what?
Piece of pie.
I hear it begins with the letter M. M-I-E-R. Well, Castro, 78, was shown on live TV after his tumble, sitting in a chair at the outdoor event in the central city of Santa Clara. He joked into the microphone that maybe I broke my knee, but I'm all in one piece. Piece of what? Castro's condition was not immediately known. People watching TV couldn't see what happened after Castro wrapped up the speech at a graduation ceremony for arts instructors and left the stage. TV viewers only saw several of his security men running, evidently to assist him. An AP photographer at the scene said Castro tripped after he walked down the wooden stairs from the stage, although it says here walkied. After he walked down the wooden stairs from the stage, then fell onto the ground on his right side, first hitting his knee and hip, and then his elbow and arm. I love it. As he's grown older, Castro's knees seem to have bothered him more, and his step has seemed less steady. He's fallen over here. Castro made it clear he didn't want to leave the area in an ambulance and was later seen being driven away in his black Mercedes-Benz. Well, I don't want to go on about it at length because he'll be there till he's 150 years old. You know that.
Years.
The miserable bastards, they live forever. The good people, we just, before you know it, it's all over. Okay, beaded curtain time. Nicole Richie, born September 21st, 1981. You'll definitely want to take a peek at that because, like George says, very rare. You have to scour the
nobody's
globe
seen those yet. Did you know she
to
had a
find
pierced
booby
nipple?
pictures of Nicole Richie. Anyway, she's current, so that makes her 23. What a nice age, huh? She's currently a member of fledgling rock band Darling. Come on.
Sorry.
Kids in America is in post-production right now. She's making that flick. And the other, her filmography is kind of short. Simple Life 2, The Road Trip. 2004 MTV Movie Awards, Rockstar Daughters, The E, True Hollywood Story, The Simple Life series, 6 Feet Under, Howard Stern, July 19, 2004. McEnroe playing herself, Jimmy Kimmel Live, and she does have a whole bunch of stuff. She was on the Ellen DeGeneres show.
More
Live
stuff
with
than we knew.
Regis and Kathy Lee, playing with herself. And Punked. And a bunch of other crap. Well, anyway, forget about that. You'll like it. Nicole Richie. John Ashcroft won't like it, and especially if you linger too long. If you linger and sniff your finger, John Ashcroft will come after you. Okay? Speaking of John Ashcroft and the Nazi Bund, Election Day is only a week and a half away. Oh, you're not gonna dwell on that, are you? Yeah. And Eric did a great job. Boy, we got more stuff on the website. If you don't hop on there today, I'm going to be really fired off and pissed up. I'm telling you right now. That's right. Because we got the electoral vote predictor. This is electoral-vote.com. Man, we got the link to it right on top of our website. And it's just sensational. Although I'll be honest with you, I'm looking at the same kind of map they have in USA Today.
Yeah.
And that poll must be the same one they had in the Detroit right-wing news last night, which shows Bush actually opening a lead in Michigan. I got news for yous, and that is if now this poll on the electoral vote predictor, which shows Kerry 271 electoral votes, which you need 270 to win, so razor thin, and Bush 257. But this one shows Bush Kerry, whatever his name is, way ahead in Michigan, 59-46, and yet the other electoral one poll, the one from USA Today, shows Bush 3 points ahead in Michigan. So you figure it out.
Okay.
Based on the same, who the hell knows? So it goes to show you got to get out there and vote multiple times over and over again, all you Kerry people, because the world cannot stand another 4 years of these lunatics. And speaking of that, the Miami debut screening of a 1-hour documentary, Rush to War, by Miami native and noted film producer Bob Teicher. Is that how you pronounce his name, I hope?
How the hell should I know?
Teicher, maybe he's a school teacher. Details the issues surrounding 9/11 and American foreign policy with insightful comments from respected government officials. Respected government officials? I didn't know there were any. Foreign policy experts and journalists, including former Senator George McGovern. Love you, George. Nationally syndicated columnist Robert Scheer, Molly Ivins, and Chris Hedges of the New York Times. Former Chief weapons inspector Scott Ritter, former General Anthony Zinni, and former terrorism czar Richard Clarke. Excellent. It emphasizes the blunders of the current administration's policies and actions in the war on terror and its consequences for global security in the 21st century. Now, this screening will be Tuesday, October 26th, coming up next Tuesday, 7:30 and 9:30 p.m. at the Flavor Nightclub, 2895 McFarland Road in Coconut Grove. Admission is $10. A portion of the proceeds being donated to MoveOn.org, so it's a good deal all the way around. Next Tuesday, October 26th, 7:30 and 9:30 p.m. at the Flavor Nightclub, 2895 McFarland Road, Coconut Grove. Okay? So those of you with an IQ larger than your thumb size, you might want to check that out. Yesterday's poll, which of these groups bugs you the most? We had 2,200 and some votes on this. That's astonishing, ain't it?
It's staggering.
Well, you know why? Because it's it's a chance for them to unleash their hostility and hate and angst. Born-again Christians piss us off big time. 633, they had almost 30%.
About 30, man.
Of the total vote. 633, nobody even close. Republicans, 306, some of whom, by the way, aren't born-again Christians. Dumb people, 272. I see a lot of overlap in those first three categories. Yeah. Cubans, 196. I hate everybody, 176. New York is 97. You see the big drop down from that fifth one there to New Yorkers, only 97. And that's because probably 80% of the people in South Florida are New Yorkers anyway, so unless they're self-hating. Jews, 91. You better choose carefully what you say about the Jews or they'll get you.
They have vase.
That's right. They'll hit you with a steel matzo ball. Haitians, 80. African-Americans, 60. French-Canadians, 60. How about black French-Canadians? Are there such a thing?
I don't know.
I guess there must be. Rednecks, 56. Muslims, 53. I like everybody, 50. Isn't that sweet, but also very boring, you know? And also a big fat lie. Anybody who says, oh, I like everybody.
Even
You're
gypsies?
Full of crap. We don't believe you. Or maybe you just don't get out of the house too much. Maybe you haven't met the people that we've met. Maybe you haven't been to QAM yet. Jamaicans, 23. Boy, that was my vote, and it's almost at the rock bottom.
Rock solid.
No, rock bottom. And Catholics, only 10. Everybody likes Catholics because they're horny and they screw a lot.
Yeah,
right?
They do. Sure.
So what's not to like? Oh, we got some deaths today. Not really all that famous, I guess, in terms of our audience, but, some of the audience.
Oi!
Sam Lender of frozen bagel fame dies at 84 in Boca. Sam Lender, along with his brothers, turned a tiny Connecticut bakery into the national company Lender's Bagels. Died. He was 84. He died Sunday of heart failure at the Hospice by the Sea in Boca, said his daughter Marcy Lender LeBlanc. Wonder if she's kin to Matt LeBlanc, you think?
Let's hope not.
We don't know, and we don't care. If we never see him again, it'll be much too soon. A native of Lublin, Poland, not Dublin, Ireland, but Lublin, Poland. Lender moved to New Haven in 1929. He was 12 when he began working at his father's bagel business, hand-rolling dough into bagels at the bakery with his brothers. The yeast will kill you, by the way, in bagels. I don't want to now that he's dead, he don't care anymore, Sam. But it's that yeast that makes you really sick, and especially if you're diabetic like me. And oh, man, it'll make you want to barf. Although I do like a good onion bagel. Poppy seed with onions.
Poppy.
By the mid-1930s, Lenders had 8 workers who produced 300 dozen bagels a day. They decided to freeze their bagels, and their product went national in '67, and now you can get them all over the world, Lender LeBlanc said. Lender and his wife Lena moved to Palm Beach County after retiring. He was an active philanthropist involved in local politics. His daughter said he was basically a good guy, okay? And now he's dead. See the good people? What did I just get through telling you? The good people are the dead people, and the miserable, the mumsers like Castro. He'll live to be 120.
Easy.
Farbisson. Oh, another dead man. Paul H. Nitze. Remember him?
No.
Who pursued a hardline approach toward the Kremlin as he helped shape U.S. diplomatic and military strategy during the Cold War, is dead. He was only 97. His son, William A. Nitze, said he died Tuesday night at his home in the Georgetown area of Washington. The funeral service is being held Saturday at the Washington National Cathedral. I'm sure many of you want to attend. Nitze's long career, which began with success on Wall Street as a young investment banker, including government service under 8 presidents, was capped in April in Bath, Maine, as he witnessed the christening of a warship bearing his name. And yada, yada, yada. Oh, this goes on forever. Paul Nitze's dead. He was 97. Like I said, the good people, they just don't live too long. Got some faxes here. I think maybe we ought to do the break, right? Especially since we came out early today.
I have no idea what time it is. Oh, wait, I have a watch. Okay.
10:38. And ain't that great? In the Sunshine State. And don't be late. Yeah, somebody messed with the clock in there again. People are potchking around
broken.
with all the stuff in that studio in the QAM. The refrigerator, the clock. I mean, yesterday we had the Pompano copy was on the floor. It just, continues being the same nightmare that it always has been. Although it's a little bit more pleasant without Screw-Ann is what I'm hearing. That's the scuttlebutt around the building. It's a little more pleasant without Screw-Ann, all her screaming and histrionic. That's the rumor I'm hearing all the way up here. In fact, somebody swam right across Lake Ontario to pass the message along. Here's the poll we're doing for today. And we did this once before, but it was months ago, and I think now is a really good time, a week and a half away from the election, don't you?
Sounds good.
Yeah. Which of these best describes George W. Bush? And I started with 6, and I'm sure that some of you have your own, and hopefully we'll be able to repeat them on the air. Strong leader. Resolute. Smirking chimp. Commander and thief. Dimwit. Or lesser of two evils.
The Howard Stern Show. Neil Rogers, mornings and middays. And sports around the clock. 560 WQAM.
Are you sure?
Jeb Bush.
Welcome to another hilarious episode of George Bush Theater.
I think you're like Rain Man, without the math skills.
George plays Rain Man.
Raymond, what were you doing in my room?
I believe.
Raymond, what were you doing in my room?
I don't know.
You don't know what you were doing in my room. There were noises. Well, those noises are none of your business. You understand that?
I understand now.
Huh? Put the phone book down. Stop acting like an idiot. Go to sleep.
Go to sleep! Stay tuned for the next George Bush Theater, where George plays Forrest Gump.
17 till 11 at 560 WQM. We got some astonishing news today. The Mad Dog. Now, tomorrow Mad Dog will be doing a show at Hooters in Pembroke Pines, so to rest up for that, I guess, for the pressure and the excitement.
Right.
For all the hootery.
They're heavy.
We got Mo Howard David filling in, my good, close personal buddy. From 2 to 4 this afternoon, filling in for the old doggy. And I guess Mad Dog's probably under a lot of stress anyway with those, what were those Dolphin games? Wow. And wait till they play the St. Louis Rams this weekend. Oh, my God. That going to be ugly or what?
Very.
That can't be the same team that came from behind and knocked off Seattle 2 weekends ago and then this last Monday night beat up on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That can't be the same St. Louis Rams, can it?
No.
No. Maybe it's like a little league team. Maybe then the Dolphins might have a shot, but I doubt it. Anyway, Mo at 2, then we got the Humper at 4. You got Hurricane Hotline at 7. Road to the FedEx Orange Bowl at 9, whatever kind of chazarai that is. And then at 10 o'clock, it's our good buddy Eddie K from GA. That'll make that guy feel better again.
There you go.
I'll tell you, Eric is really doing it. You know what? He is doing one phenomenal job. Eric, you're the best, baby, in spite of what everybody else says. And I do mean everybody.
You see the guide up there now?
That's what I'm looking at. In fact, I got this fax from Steve this morning who says, please help us. Please post on your website your voting preferences for the upcoming election. Please include yes or no on judges and amendments in as many local races as possible. Well, I mean, judges in the local races, we'll maybe get around to that or not. But as far as the amendments, which includes everybody out there, there it is. Says so many voters are clueless about the choices. Thanks, Stephen. Right off the bat, we waste no time, wasting not even a moment of our precious time.
And
yes?
He even included, as you can see, a link to each issue so you can go.
I was going to get to that. Okay. Will you just relax? Okay, we've got over 3.5 hours today. They bailed out at 10:27, even though your clock don't work. So just take it slow. You got to learn to pace yourself. We have plenty of time. We don't have to do that usual thing that we do when they go till about 10:55, and we're very happy. We can just take it nice and slow. Okay? That's it. Just take another hit and relax. So anyway, we've got proposed amendments on there, and 1 through 8. And then we've got our choices to which you should hopefully vote there at the ass end. First 3 no and the rest of them yes. It's kind of simple like that, right?
Right, but if you're not convinced, go read all about it yourself.
And then you can click on, like for example, number 1. Click on where it says parental notification, and it'll give you the whole, let's go into it right now, and there it is. And it tells you who proposed it, who's against it, who's voting for it. And you can, in fact, once you go to the first one, you can scroll down all of them, and it shows you. That's really neat.
Aye, laddie.
It's beautiful. Nice going there, Eric. Man, you are just some days the best, and then some other days. And then right under that, the electoral vote predictor. Now, we have some people, I know you'll be shocked at this, especially when you listen to it. We do have some people out there with an IQ larger than their thumbnail. And people who really are into this election, and they ought to be, everybody ought to be, because it's like, I don't even know what words to say about it. This transcends all the others by so far that nothing even, it all pales into insignificance. This makes Roosevelt against Hoover pale into insignificance.
This is 30s Germany all over again, and we have a chance.
So, electoral vote predictor, and you click on that baby, and you get this really, really neat website, electoral-vote.com. Don't go to electoralvote.com without the dash, because then you get some like bogus thing that they're even trying to sell that website. Did you ever check that out?
No, I did not.
Yeah, they're trying to peddle it because it's dead. Electoral dash, but you don't have to do that. All you got to do is click the thing on our website. And there is the map, the electoral vote predictor 2004, Kerry 271, Bush 257. That includes every day that changes because they give the up-to-the-date state-by-state polls based on whatever the latest poll is. Now, needless to say, there's not a new poll in every state every day. You following all this?
I am.
Because I'm sure that only, how many people in this audience
About 30, man.
care that deeply that they're going to, it's really neat. And it shows you even nice colors for those of you people that read USA Today and don't do too much reading, but you like them nice colors, you know? You got your reds and your blue and your pink. Oh, wow.
Right.
And the pink are like weak Bush states. Well, it's like a week break on the Al Franken show. Did I hear Howard say he was going to have Al Franken on?
I don't know.
Wow, that's really exciting. I wonder if he's going to have Kathleen, what's her name again? Catherine Lamper on there with him, because that'll be really exciting. Anyway, so there's the, please take a look at that if you're one of those people who cares. For example, and then you can scroll your thing over it and your mouse too, state by state, like I'm on Maryland right now, it just happened to come up there. Strong Kerry state, the latest poll, October 7th, Kerry 56, Bush 41%. And then it even shows who won the state in 2000, Gore 56.6% and Bush 47. Very interesting, like in Pennsylvania right now, Kerry 47, Bush 46, within the statistical margin of error, et cetera. So very interesting for those who really care. I mean, God forbid that I should take the time to go down all that on the air, because the whole audience would be in a coma, in a deep coma. It's not bad enough that I read all these ponderous stories on here all the time, because I'm sure that we have a significant audience out there, especially the one. You know what really gets me?
What gets you?
Now, we had a good response on our website yesterday, because I do check those stats every day. But in terms of the hits, who did we have on there yesterday? Melanie Griffith.
Oh, yeah.
I guess she didn't crank their chain too well, because the number of hits we have is in direct proportion not to the stories that we have on there, but in whoever's booby picture we got on there, the booby trap.
Picture of Melanie.
Well, they didn't like it. Okay, I'm just telling you right now. I'm sure they'll like Nicole Richie a lot better.
She has
in fact, they might like Lionel Richie better.
Left nipple was
I think they might even like Fat Richie a little bit better than Melanie Griffith. They just, I don't know. She just didn't do it for him. But what I was starting to say is it just tears your kishkis out. And you know, because on those rare days when I don't bother picking the stories and you do a fine job doing it and you put them on there, and then you look at the response and you realize that 95% of the people that are going to our website want to see a naked picture. Well, that's fine. We're very happy to give you a little bit of titillation, if I can say that. Can I say that?
No.
A little bit of whatever. But it's sad.
Yeah, like you're
because
spinning
there's some
the wheels.
stuff like that story I had. We had so much good stuff on yesterday. I think I left here at 2:00 thinking this was one hell of a show. I thought we had a lot of really interesting stuff on there that you won't read in the Herald and the Sun Sentinel. You won't see certainly not on the Certainly Not News Network, CNN, or the Fox Nazi Network, or those, or MSNBC, which is now Fox Light. You just won't see it. Well, speaking of light, there's that screamer that he's allowed to keep his gold medal. Ham. That's her name, whatever her name is. What a screamer. Don't say anything, sweetheart. Boy, you just float like a butterfly. WQAM, hello.
Hi, Neil.
Yes, sir.
You're talking about the stories. I actually was very interested in the earpiece story with President Bush.
Right.
But I'm a young Julio. The early voting thing.
Right.
Could I go anywhere and vote early, or do I have to go to a certain place? How does that work?
No, you have to go to a certain place. There are only specific areas that, and I wish we had the Dade County thing on there. We'll work on that today. We'll try to get that on there. We got the Broward one on there, including the map. We got to get Dade and Palm Beach on there, too.
But am I allocated to go to a certain one, or can I go to one in my area?
I see what you're saying. No, actually, you can go to one that's not necessarily the one that you're supposed to go to, and you'll still be able to vote.
And you think those votes will count?
What time's your show on, pal? Good luck to you. Okay, see. We
can only hope for the best.
Well, all I can say to that is, yeah, who the hell knows? I think those votes will count. Well, who knows? Who the hell knows? Man. As a matter of fact, here's a great fax from Linda, who says, Linda's a nurse. Not that makes any difference. It's a long-time, first-time faxer says, look what I had on my van windshield because she had a Kerry Edwards bumper sticker. She went in to do her shopping. She parked her van, and she came out, and some Farbissen right-wing bushlicker came out and put a religious tract on her windshield.
Very weak one, too. It seemed much better, more biting.
Oh, Jesus, this, and the Bible, and all this other crap, to save her from the evils of those left-wing pinko.
Didn't even make any point, just gobbledygook Bible.
So that goes to show you the kind of people you're up against. So like I've been telling you a long time, unless you're one of those right-wing fundamentalist crazy people, or you're one of the ultra-rich who wants all the tax rake-offs for the rich, unless you're in that category, there is no reason to be voting for this smirking chimp. Let's see, how's that poll coming, as a matter of fact? I almost forgot about the poll. Because I'm sure there are other things that we might be able to repeat on the air. They want to describe George W. Bush as. Dimwit, 55. That was my vote. Nice choice, folks. 118 votes. Smirking Chimp, 25. Commander and Thief, 23. Lesser of Two Evils, 7. Strong Leader, 5. And Resolute, 3. So there's like 15 positive votes. That's about 12%. Kind of scary. WQAM, hello.
That was my vote. Nice choice, folks.
QAM. With their radio turned way up. Going once. Going twice. And going 3 times. How sad. 567-0560, pound 560 on the Verizon and Singular Wireless lines. Yeah, we need to get to Dade. I don't want to put too much on there.
No, I'll send him a link right now.
We need to get that on there, especially Dade County. Palm Beach, well, I don't know where they go to vote for Pat Buchanan. And and guess who Paul Zahn had on last night? The unctuous Ralph. Oh, did I mention, hey, nice going Red Sox? I don't really care, but nice job. Anybody beats the Yankees is okay in my book, especially the cursed Red Sox. Didn't I tell you, Josh, the other day that the Patriots gave them the impetus on Sunday?
Oh, yeah.
What are you laughing about? It happens to be the truth. Trust me when I tell you. You ask anybody on that team, and the Red Sox, man for man, even a bat boy will tell you, it was Tom Brady and Bill Belichick and the entire Patriot team that showed us a really ballsy performance against the tough Seattle team on Sunday, kicking their ass 30-10, and that put us over the top. Guaranteed. So maybe the fact that they came from the precipice of defeat and they pulled it out in the end, whacking the Yankees bad 10-3 last night right there in Yankee Stadium. Maybe that's a portend something big for one of the big Red Sox rooters there, good old scary John Kerry, you think?
Hopefully.
And don't forget, we are taking donations for his Botox shots. WQAM, hello.
Yeah, you forgot gun owners for Bush.
What is it?
He said only a rich and the religious voting for Bush. He forgot
and a gun lover, right.
Gun owners, yes.
Yeah, but the good news is Kerry was out shooting ducks this morning to show what a macho gun lover he is.
Kerry would probably shoot himself if you didn't watch him.
Okay, whatever. 567-0560, pound 560 on the Verizon and Singular Wireless line. Yeah, I'm sure Kerry had no experience with weapons, having been a member of the military in Vietnam.
Right.
A volunteer, by the way.
Shot people with weapons.
Right. That is correct. Was right there in the heat of battle understanding what it is, as opposed to the president who they were screwing around yesterday saying, oh, well, Pat Robertson is a liar. They didn't really say that. They were trying to be kind. Well, he misunderstood. Now, here's one of their most fervent, ardent, right-wing, fanatical, religious nut jobs who goes on that, and then, of course, he's trying to cover up his tracks. Oh, well, I was enthusiastically for George Bush before, and I still am. Yeah. When he told Bush, be very careful, don't get involved in this war in Iraq because there's going to be a lot of blood on your hands, a lot of dead kids. And Bush says, oh, there won't be no casualties.
Jesus,
and now they're trying to say, oh, he never said that, which again proves, just like Kerry keeps saying, he's totally out of touch. He has no idea what it is. To him, it's like something you drop on a blackboard, that's all. He goes into the war room and he's the war president. He's nothing but another draft-dodging chicken hawk, just like his vice president. And don't be saying nothing about that bulldog daughter, Mary Cheney, by the way, no more.
What'd she ever do to you?
Next thing, Teresa Hines Kerry will be making caustic comments about Lynn Cheney, Lynn Patrick, about Laura Bush. Who gives a crap? All this minutia, all of this, oh, did you hear what this one said? I mean, here we got the whole world is going to hell in a handbasket. We've got people dying like crazy. The economy is going to hell. We got oil $55 plus a barrel now, which inflation is already starting to kick in, and you ain't seen nothing yet. Because having lived through the 73 Arab oil embargo and remember what the hell that did to the economy, you just wait, boys and girls. As a matter of fact, let's take a puke at it right now, okay? Let's turn on the gambling channel just momentarily until I say, oh, look at that. It actually went down 16 cents. Crude oil is a real bargain today, only $54.25.
You're listening to Neil
Thank you for the low
Rogers.
gas prices, Mr. President.
Exclusively on 560 QAM.
Bread 'em and say cheese.
I supported Bush after that tragic day, and to my surprise, disgust and shame, he let the sorties in Bin Laden get away, and shifted the blame to Saddam Hussein. We got Iraq. We're occupying Iraq. Hey, how about that? They're not the ones who attack. No big contracts. What's going on with this crap? We got Iraq. We're occupying Iraq. Defense contractors are having fun as we spread freedom at the point of a gun. The blood money profits have only just begun for KBR, GE, and Halliburton. Needlessly sending our kids to die. And the drooling mugwumps still support this guy. An advanced stage of syphilis must be the reason why they believe George Bush is Jesus Christ. We're occupying Iraq. Hey, how about that? They're not the ones who attack. What's going on with this crap? We're occupying Iraq. Boy, George, why do you take so many vacations?
You know, it's hard work. It's hard work. Everybody knows it's hard work. We've done a lot of hard work. I see on the TV screens how hard it is. Yeah,
It is so hard.
Yeah, I doubt that. It's 11:02 at 560 WQAM, a Thursday, October 21, just a week and a half before that big day, or before those several days when we had the election. See, up until 2000, we used to have the election in one day. Now, not only do we have the early voting going on right up to Election Day, but then, of course, we have the post-Election Day lawsuits and crises and Chad counting and gnashing of teeth and whining and whatever, and finagling. A lot of finagling going on. Can I say that on the air, Joy? Oh. Here's a fax from Chip who says, Maureen Dowd is the thinking man's woman. Even the fascists respect her articles. If you're not scared to death after reading her latest article, then you must fall into the dimwit category with W, and may God save your stupid ass, is what Chip says.
Rectum.
Something like that. So here's her latest article. How do you like that? I'm easy. It's on our website, I think. You are really something else. Right. Casualties of Faith by Maureen Dowd. She says, when I was little, I was very good at leaps of faith. A nun would tape up a picture of a snow-covered mountain peak on the blackboard and say that the first child to discern the face of Christ in the melting snow was the holiest. I was soon smugly showing the rest of the class the miraculous outline of that soulful, bearded face. But I never thought I'd see the day when leaps of faith would be national policy, when the fortunes of America hung on the possibility of a miracle. What does it tell you about a president that his grounds for war are so weak that the only way he can justify it is by believing God wants it, or that his only Iraq policy now, as our troops fight a vicious insurgency and the dream of a stable democracy falls apart, is a belief in miracles? Miracles make the incurious even more incurious. People who live by religious certainties don't have to waste time with recalcitrant facts or moral doubts. They don't need to torture themselves, for example, about dispatching American kids into a sand trap with ghostly enemies and without the proper backup, armor, expectations, or cultural training. Any president relying more on facts than faith could have seen that his troops would be sitting ducks. Donald Rumsfeld's experiment, sending in a light, agile force, more a Vin Diesel vehicle than a smart plan for Iraq, was in direct conflict with the overwhelming force needed to attempt the neocons' grandiose scheme to turn Iraq into a model democracy. JFK had to fight the anti-papist expectation that his Oval Office would take orders from heaven. For W, it's a selling point. Some right-wing Catholics want John Kerry excommunicated, while evangelicals call the president a messenger of God. God's blessing is on him, TV evangelist Pat Robertson says, adding it's the blessing of heaven on the emperor. Mr. Bush has shown all the evangelical voters who didn't like his daddy that he gets, as Mr. Robertson puts it, his directions from the Lord. When Paul Ozan asked the televangelist Tuesday about whether Mr. Bush as a Christian should admit his mistakes, Mr. Robertson said he'd warned a self-satisfied Bush about Iraq. The Lord told me it was going to be a disaster and messy. Mr. Robertson said he was the most self-assured man I ever met. Paraphrasing Mark Twain, he said Mr. Bush was like a contented Christian with 4 aces. He was just sitting there like I'm on top of the world, and I warned him about this war, and I was trying to say, Mr. President, you better prepare the American people for casualties. Oh, no, we're not going to have any casualties, Bush said. W, it seems, really believes he's the one, President Neo, and his advisors are disciples. That's why Condi Rice so willingly puts aside her national security duties to spread the Bush gospel in swing states, and why Karen Hughes raced to impugn Mr. Robertson's veracity after he described his chilling encounter with W. W's willful blindness comes from mistakenly assuming that his desires are God's, as if he knows where God stands on everything from democracy in Iraq to capital gains tax cuts. As Lincoln noted in his second inaugural address about the Civil War, one can't speak for God. The Almighty has his own purposes, Lincoln said. Mr. Bush didn't just ignore Mr. Robertson's warning. He ignored his own intelligence experts who warned before the war that an invasion of Iraq would spur more support for political Islam and trigger violent conflict, including an insurgency that would drive Baathists and terrorists together in a toxic combination. As Michael Gordon wrote in his Time series this week on blind spots and the strategy to secure Iraq, the Bush crew engaged in an astonishing series of delusions, assuming they could begin a withdrawal of troops 60 days after taking Baghdad, enabling the insurgency to flourish, abolishing the Iraqi military and putting American lives at risk, misreading the obvious reaction to an American occupation of a Muslim country. CIA officials were so clueless they wanted to sneak hundreds of small American flags into Iraq before the war so grateful Iraqis could wave them at their liberators. The agency planned to film that and triumphantly beam it to the Arab world. The president has this strange notion that his belief in God means detailed and perfect knowledge of everything that God wants. He may wish to keep his head stuck in the Iraqi sand, but he may discover that the Almighty has his own purposes. How do you like
Very
that?
good.
For example, one of them might be electing John Kerry. God forbid, as I'm sure they're thinking, all those Bible thumpers, all those bead squeezers. Let's see, Daniel Faxon says, how can you recommend a vote no on Amendment 3? Very easy. We discussed it. I'm not going to take time. Now, Daniel, again, you're probably one of those people, and maybe he's the one who called me yesterday with a medical profession, and he was a nurse. Now, sorry about that. I'm not going to protect the lawyers are a bunch of S-bags, and the doctors, most of them are a bunch of butchers, but most lawyers don't wind up killing anybody, okay? And the idea that we're going to cap the public's ability to get whatever they can for the butchers who practice medicine, especially...
A lollipop, little boy?
Eisner?
Mr. Mouse?
What the hell are you doing to me?
What do you mean, sir?
Why am I reading in the paper you're going to put a Disney theme park in Brooklyn?
Well, sir, we're just scouting locations.
Jesus, I'm scouting CEOs. You are killing me.
But sir, look what we've done with New York City, Times Square, 42nd Street.
Hang on. Remus! Remus! Turn off the vacuum cleaner, Remus! Get that bluebird out of here!
Okay, boss.
Eisner.
But sir, look what we've done with Midtown Manhattan. 42nd Street is incredible.
You know what? Publicly, I supported that, but you took all the porn away. You're killing me. I'm going through Gaviscon like Pez.
We're just scouting areas. Calm down.
Listen to me, Butt Munch. Don't tell me to calm down. We got lucky with Lilo and Stitch, $128 million. Now, you're trying to ruin the whole network. What kind of programming are you running? Hang on a minute. Remus!
Yeah, boss.
You got bluebird crap all over your shoulder! Clean yourself up, for heaven's sake! And turn off the vacuum cleaner!
Okay, boss.
Good God!
Sir, the network is fine.
Why couldn't you come up with American Idol? Good God, you're still running James Bond movies. They're 60 years old. Why don't you just put Steamboat Willie on and be done with it? At least then I'd make a couple of damn dollars.
Well, the movie division's fine. You mentioned Lilo and Stitch, and now we have the new M. Night Shyamalan movie coming out later this summer.
I know, signs. What the hell does that mean? Stop sign, yield sign? You gotta start swinging some of these titles past me.
Please.
Remus. Remus.
Can't hear you, boss.
I know you can't hear me, Remus. You're still running the vacuum cleaner.
Yes, that's right, boss. I'm running the vacuum.
Get out of here, Remus, and take that bluebird with you.
All right.
Eisner.
Yes, sir?
I'd be very careful the next time I started my car if I were you.
What do you mean, sir?
I'm about done with you.
What?
About done.
What, sir?
I'll put Hannah Storm in your job.
But, sir, I'm sorry.
You're terrible.
I'm sorry.
Maybe I'll put Remus in there. How'd you like to be president of Disney, Remus?
Oh, my.
What a wonderful day! Get out of here, you nutbag.
So before noon, we got some exciting news today. Mad Dog is taking the day off, but filling those big shoes of his, Mo Howard David, our close personal bud. Here's some even better news.
Yeah.
This just in, only seconds ago, and it must be true because it's from the Sun Sentinel website. And what did I tell you? They got a good website. You can actually go on there and keep in touch with things as they're happening, as opposed to the Herald, which changes stuff about once every other sukkahs. And what a shame about Dave Barry's taking some time off. Isn't he a funny guy? Oh, brother. He's the Rascal House of comedy. Anyway, in the aftermath of the presidential debates, Democrat John Kerry has pulled even with President Bush in Florida, according to a poll out right now, this moment, this second. Bush has 48% and Kerry 47% among 808 likely voters in a Quinnipiac University poll. The telephone poll has a margin of sampling error plus or minus 3.5 percentage points, was taken from last Friday to Tuesday, 2 days ago. Independent candidate Ralph Nader received 1%. Now you see there's that 1%, even though it's only 1%. He continues being the chigger in the woodpile. The same polling organization 2 weeks ago showed Bush with a lead of 51 to 44. You seeing the difference? You seeing the direction in which things are swinging? The debate strengthened Kerry's image in Florida, Assistant Poll Director Clay Richards said. For the first time, more Kerry supporters say their vote means they're voting for the senator and not just against President Bush. A third of those questioned rated the presidential debates as very important to their decision. Florida's 27 electoral votes represents the richest cache of electoral votes in the battleground states being contested in the final days of the campaign. The results were similar to other recent polls, including a Mason-Dixon poll done for several media outlets and a University of North Florida poll which showed the race dead even. Florida's U.S. Senate race is also shaping up as a nail-biter. The survey showed Democrat Betty Castor of Tampa and Republican Mel Martinez of Orlando each supported by 47% to succeed retiring Bobby Graham. The UNF poll also found the Senate race close. But a significant number of voters said they still didn't know enough about either of the Senate candidates. While both were generally seen favorably, 35% said they hadn't heard enough about castor oil, and 29% said they don't have enough information yet on right-wing fanatical Martinez. In the Quinnipiac poll, voter concern shifted somewhat in Florida, where 28% of the respondents said the economy is now their biggest worry, to 26% who identified terrorism, and 22% mostly concerned about health care. Kerry was seen in the survey as the candidate most capable of being successful with handling the economy and health care, while Bush, as usual, was seen more able to fight against terrorism and handling that Iraqi war, which is going so well. Florida voters ranked the economy, terrorism, health care, and the war in Iraq as their major concerns. And the early bird dinner didn't even make the top 10 this time. How do you like that? We're making progress, boys and girls. Boy. Yeah. 5670560. Oh, and another poll that you'll like.
Yes.
This one may seem to be frivolous, but it has a pretty good track record. Kid Power.
Okay.
Democrat John Kerry is the winner, and the rest of the country should pay attention because the vote on Nickelodeon's website has correctly chosen the president of the U.S. in the past 4 elections. In the Nickelodeon poll, nearly 400,000 children and teenagers voted. The results were released yesterday. Kerry got 57%, Bush 43%. Following that, not even close, a smashing victory. Even the kids know that Bush is a bozo, okay? How come we didn't put bozo on there?
Not
on
too
the
late.
poll. Put it on there, bozo. I like it. It's kind of like in between dimwit and smirking chimp. Bozo. Nickelodeon, wasn't the Reagan in that movie Bedtime for Bozo? Nickelodeon's been airing information on the November 2nd election, plus sponsoring debates where kids could put forth their views on the environment, the war in Iraq, and terrorism. Some animated shows on the cable channel also been focusing on the election. Linda Ellerby, remember her?
No.
Yeah, you do. She was on MSNBC. She was on NBC on that late night show with the big glasses, the Elton John glasses. Come on.
No.
Linda Ellerby, who writes and hosts Nick News, saying their vote usually... Who's that broad I'm trying to think of, that right-wing bitch?
Candy Crowley.
Who?
Candy Crowley.
Yeah. God, do I hate this woman. Linda Ellerby, who writes and hosts Nick News, says their voting usually reflects their parents' views, but not all the time. Every so often you get a kid that says, my parents are voting for X, but I'm voting for Y, she said.
Why?
My parents are voting for X, but I'm voting for...
Why?
It's amazing the point where kids start forming their own ideas about the issues, she'd be saying. Ellerby said Nickelodeon's been traveling the country teaching about the election and the importance of being socially informed. 7-year-old Anthony Vigiano of Baldwin, New York, Vigiano, won a contest for the best song lyrics about freedom of speech and performed it with rocker John Mellencamp. If we can get kids interested in voting when they can legally vote, they will, she said. They'll run for office. They'll be the candidates people want to vote for. Ellerby, who will announce the results on You Pick Live, well, it's already happened last night, said many children wonder why they can't vote in the real election. Kids aren't dumb. They're just younger and shorter, she said. In fact, last election, a boy came up to me and said, we picked George Bush to win. He didn't really win. Al Gore won the popular vote, so we were kind of wrong. Quite an observation. Like that. Don't worry, kid. Gore won the election. Everybody knows it. It's just that the Democrats wussed out. Just watch Fahrenheit 9/11 again. In fact, that would be my strong recommendation. If you got a spare couple of hours between now and a week from Tuesday, I would be watching that over and over and over again until it makes an imprint on your brain and even on your
rectum.
Right. WQAM, hello.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
The name of the chick that Neil's trying to remember is Lauren Ingram.
Oh, thank you so much.
All right.
Laura Ingram. Oh, man. Don't you know who she is?
No.
You've never seen her?
I'm sure I have. But...
She makes Ann Coulter seem moderate by comparison. She makes her seem neutral. That's how obnoxious and hateful and snotty and right-wing you'd like to just beat her with a bed slat. Thanks, amigo. Laura Ingraham. That's her name. No kin to David Ingraham, I think, who couldn't drive his way out of a paper sack at Pompano Park, by the way. Hey, Dave, get a compass and a road map. You're getting lost too much. WQAM, hello.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Uncle Neil?
Pretty good. I'm doing great.
Excellent. Glad to hear that. Listen, I heard you read, I believe, a fact or some kind of something you read from a former senator of Kentucky.
Right.
You know, and I got to tell you, what really bothers me, or what I really don't understand, is how vigorous some of these Republicans, vote for this guy. I mean, they actually look up to him as if he's supposed to be some kind of hero. You know, especially particularly these Cubans, which, by the way, I'm ashamed of calling myself Cuban. You know, we come from a land where we know nothing about democracy. We know nothing about freedom. And here we are pointing the finger, at Democrats,
Yeah, but don't forget, see, Batista was a hero to a lot of these people. He was sure a lot better than Castro, and he was a fascist. So fascism is, the thing a lot of these old exilios are used to. They like it.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. You know, I was with some family over the past couple of days, and it's just amazing how close-minded, how ignorant these people are, and it's really a shame. You know, and this goes for all the Cubans listening to this radio station. You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Amen. I would that duct tape you got left over from the hurricanes?
Yeah.
I'd put it over their mouth, tie them, I'll put them in a broom closet till November 3rd, just to be safe.
All right, Neil.
Get busy, pal. Thanks.
Yeah.
11:56 at 560. All you Bush people ought to be ashamed, Cubans and others, and you dark folks for Bush. Oh, my God. And you Jews for Bush. Weisner.
Oh. You're listening to Neil Rogers exclusively on 560.
Hey, I'm Frau Iliana Ross-Leitman, and I like scrubbing my smelly gorilla ass with soap made from Jews, and listening to the Neil Roque Comunista Hour. Oh, what is it?
Finally got a call here, the number one rated Mohammed David in the show, at least according to my aspirations. Stay away from me. I don't even know how you have children. Miramar, hello.
I want your take on Jay Fiedler.
Oh, well, Jay Fiedler is a great quarterback and a good Jew.
I like Jay Fiedler.
Well, not to mention he's got extraordinarily smooth buttocks.
Oh, yeah!
Yeah, but you gotta be careful what you say here.
Oh, Tito, thank you, Mo.
No, wait a minute, don't go.
But I have nothing else to say.
Well, how about this? How's the weather down there in the Miramar?
I'm right down the street from you.
Yeah.
I have to go.
Oh, I know. Wait, by the way, something.
No, I have to go.
Look, I tell you what, I'll hold you over the break. How's that, huh? I'll give you one of my old tank T-shirts. How's that?
Bye.
No, wait! That was the only caller we had.
The veins on your nose is glowing again. Wow! You got big purple veins on your nose and on your face, and around those oozing pimples you call eye. If you go look in the mirror, you'll see a roadmap of Ypsilanti. You got your hippies on, way to die.
My nose glows when something stings. Almost every day I think and my veins, they start to tickle. My adenoid, yeah, I look like I'm falling apart. That's because I'm incredibly old fart. With a nose that's filled with purple veins. Something like that you ought to see. On Science Channel Discovery. How you know that the bleeding purple veins. Try to sing it.
12:02 at 560 WQAM. Happy Thursday. Don't forget, Mo Howard David, the aforementioned for the Mad Dog at 2 this afternoon. Florida Supreme Court refuses new hearing in Shivo case. And I just wrote something down, a note to be sure to talk about again, even though nobody really cares because they're busy looking at naked pictures. But, see, when they had the debate, they asked both candidates what the greatest threat to the world was today. They both, now Bush naturally wouldn't give the right answer, but Kerry didn't have the balls to do it either. Mm-hmm. So we have to say, the greatest threat is a nuclear attack from terrorists. Neither one of them was even close. The greatest threat to the world today is religious fanaticism.
Right.
And has been since the beginning of mankind, but today more than ever because they got those weapons. And they're not going to say that because they're afraid to offend the masses out there. Oh, you just can't say that. You might offend this group or that group or this Farbissen group, whichever one it happens to be. That's the greatest threat. And this story is right in line with that. This is the kind of people you're dealing with when you're dealing with the Bush family and these right-wing religionists. And like I said, unless you're one of them, why in God's name would you want any part of it? And even here's Pat Robertson on here, who now is trying to cover up his tracks like a dog kicking up the dirt 15 yards away from the pile he left. Here's Pat Robertson trying to cover up his tracks, who tells you that the president told him right to his face, oh, don't worry about no casualties. There aren't going to be any. The chicken hawk that he is, who knows nothing about war, who's a draft dodger, along with his vice president, but nevertheless, the Florida Supreme Court today declined a request from fat-ass Governor Jeb Bush to reconsider its decision striking down a state law designed to save the life of a severely brain-damaged woman. Here we're worried about, is your vote going to count? We got the early voting already going on in Florida. The election is a week and a half away. And what's the governor worried about? He's still hocking a Chinik with Terry Schiavo. Isn't that incredible?
No, it's very credible.
Gotta keep her alive. Which is really interesting because, generally speaking, these people don't give a damn about people who are alive. All they care about is those unborn fetuses, baby, and those embryos. Those embryos. Oh! Law ordering that Terry Schiavo's feeding tube be reinserted 6 days after her husband had it removed so she could die already. Die already. Bush's attorney asked the court for a rehearing, which was rejected without comment in a one-page ruling issued Thursday in Tallahassee, meaning today. Lower courts had ruled that Michael Schiavo, who says his wife never wanted to be kept alive artificially, could have the tube removed. But the legislature, of course, passed Terry's law to overrule the courts, and Bush then used the law to order the tube reinserted last October, 6 days after Michael Schiavo had it removed. I'll tell you where to stick the tube, Jeb.
Rectum.
That's it, right up your ass. Terry Schiavo, who lives in a Clearwater nursing home, can breathe on her own but relies on a feeding and hydration tube to live. Courts have concluded she is in a persistent, kind of like the Bush family, she's in a persistent vegetative state.
I thought that was
they must
Florida.
be in Florida. But maneuvering over her fate has produced a closely watched right-to-die fight. The 40-year-old woman had left no written instructions before suffering brain damage when her heart temporarily stopped beating 14 years ago. But if a Florida person's wishes must be honored, even if they're expressed orally only, not in writing. And it goes on about the parents disagreed and this and that and yada, yada, yada. Although attorneys for Schiavo argued that Terry Schiavo's privacy rights were violated, the High Court's decision last month didn't reach that legal issue after finding the law violated the fundamental doctrine of separation of powers. It is without question an invasion of the authority of the judicial branch for the legislature to pass a law that allows the executive branch to interfere with the final judicial determination in a case. Chief Justice Barbara Pariente wrote last month to the court, this is precisely what occurred here, and for that reason, the act is unconstitutional, meaning the Terry's law, as applied to Teresa Schiavo. But she continued the law also violated the separation of powers by delegating legislative power to the fat-ass governor, who had complete power under the law to decide when to issue a stay and when to lift the stay. Yeah, lift this, Jeb, you fat-ass well, I almost said it.
Almost.
Duty bag.
Careful.
I said duty bag.
Okay.
This absolute unfettered discretion to decide whether to issue and then when to lift the stay makes the governor's decision virtually unreviewable. Yeah, Joyce never said nothing about doo-doo bag. That's okay, doo-doo bag. Hey, by the way, Joyce, you're full of doo-doo, too. 567-0560. What the hell am I getting all worked up again? Well, as the election approaches, then we can kind of like slack off after that, after they send us to work camp. Yeah. Which of these best describes George W. Bush? 582 votes. Dimwit, 230. Smirking chimp, 168. Commander-in-thief, 93. Lesser of two evils, 43. Strong leader has got about 30.
About 30, man.
Resolute, 12. And bozo, 6. So let's see. The positive ones, you got 7.3, 14.6%. Holy moly. That just makes my rectum twitch. You know it? That
there's an image.
Wow. WQAM, hello.
Joe Carolo says he's not.
WQAM, hello.
Yeah, hey, Neil.
Yes, sir.
I was just wondering, what was the price of oil per barrel when Bush took office compared to now?
Oh, I don't know, maybe I would say...
About 30, man.
Yeah, I think about 26.
Oh, really? Jeez. And when Clinton, what was his hole?
What was his hole? I don't know. I'm not that tight with him. Oh, and by the way, speaking of Bubba, he's going to be campaigning in Philadelphia, so it's rumored if he's feeling up to snuff, which it looks like it. Is it Friday? Or is it next Friday? I think it's next Friday. Or maybe it's this Friday. No, he's going to be... And also, I can't wait for the response because the wife of Chris Reeves is going to be introducing John Kerry in one of his campaign stops.
Very good.
And I can't wait for the response to that. Oh, how dare they use Christopher Reeves' wife to, make a political point. I think they've been very weak on that, by the way, the Kerry crowd on the stem cell research.
Yeah.
The polling has shown that it's a very, very strong issue and that people overwhelmingly are in favor of it. I mean, you have to be crazy not to. I mean, these embryos they're talking about are going to be discarded anyway. It's not as though they're discarding anything that's going to become a human life or any kind of life.
We have to promote the culture loud.
Oh, please. Cracker, please.
We open that door.
And they haven't been nearly strong enough about that. If they'd have been strong enough on the issues as opposed to getting sucked into this argument about who did what in Vietnam 30 years ago. See, Karl Rove, once again, that's the only reason the election's even close right now is because every time they fart the wrong flavor, they're right on top of it, baby. Oh, you're picking on Mary Cheney, and you said she was fair game, and that's bad. And now here's Laura Bush getting attacked by that old bitch, Teresa Heinz Kerry, with her ketchup bottle and all this other crap, which has nothing to do with it. It's baby crap. Baby crap. It's like Nero fiddling while Rome is burning. It's the same kind of stuff. And, of course, the media hops right. The media still isn't done with the Mary Cheney business. They're still foaming at the mouth about that.
Besides,
she's a dyke. She's a dyke.
She's fair gay.
I got a good article on it. She's fair gay?
She's a fair gay.
I got an article on that, which is not very complimentary about that bitch, too, as a matter of fact. The fact that she actually is of course, she was working for Coors, and Coors notoriously has been about as homophobic over the years as possible, so that's why she became like the liaison. And now Coors actually sponsors like gay pride sporting events, stuff like that. Maybe that ham kid that got his gold medal after all, maybe he can participate. Have you ever heard him speak?
Yeah, it's embarrassing.
He's like a munchkin. He talks like a jockey. I mean, jockeys talk like that because they're little tiny people, But a guy his size to be talking like that. Well, I'm very glad that they reinstated my medal, and I think it's really wonderful. That he can jump high and spread his legs that far. Somebody who works close with you there in the morning, as a matter of fact, in the other room has taught me how to do that. 10 minutes past noon at 560 WQAM. I want to tell you right now about my friends over at Guaranteed Mortgage Bankers in Deerfield Beach. With over 275 different mortgage programs available to them, they will find a mortgage for you, no matter what your situation is. Recently, these folks helped out a listener of ours who never thought he'd be able to qualify to buy his own home. Not only were they able to qualify him, they were able to present him 3 options as to the type of mortgages he could get, and then work closely with him to determine which one was best, and then, voila, they made it happen. That's Guaranteed Mortgage Bankers in Deerfield Beach. Call them toll-free, 1-800-734-6616. Whether you're looking for an interest-only loan, a 30-year fixed rate,
about 30, man,
or one of the many low adjustable rate mortgages, Guaranteed Mortgage Bankers in Deerfield Beach has exactly what you'd be looking for. They offer payments as low as $332 for every $100,000 you borrow. Guaranteed Mortgage Bankers in Deerfield Beach can make it happen for you, too. Not only will they make it happen for your mortgage, they'll even send you on a cruise. That is correct. After closing your loan with Guaranteed Mortgage Bankers in
AM.
It stinks in Miami town.
There goes Castro flopping again.
At 560 WQAM.
On the next Oprah, you'll be shocked. You'll be amazed. You'll be talking about it for the next however long until she shocks you again. Oprah makes your wildest dreams come true. Today, everyone in the studio audience, all 276 members, get a brand new liver.
Everybody gets a liver! Everybody gets a liver!
Then, tomorrow, all 276 studio audience members get a brand new uvula.
Everybody gets a brand new uvula! Everybody gets a brand new uvula!
The next day, all 276 members of the studio audience get a 3-foot helper monkey.
Everybody gets a 3-foot helper monkey! Everybody gets a 3-foot helper monkey!
The next day, all 276 audience members get a new prosthetic arm.
Everybody gets a prosthetic arm! Everybody gets a prosthetic arm!
Oprah, giving away great stuff she didn't have to pay for, even though she could easily afford to. And next season, everybody in the studio audience gets Stedman.
Everybody gets Stedman! Everybody gets Stedman!
12:16. How come it's we had it on the website a few days ago, and evidently on one of her shows she came on and said that the women of America need to stand up, and we can't afford more of this anti-human, anti-woman, basically coming out against Bush. Mm-hmm. How come that hasn't been better publicized?
Shut up.
Because generally speaking, the women of America, millions and millions, if she tells them to go to the edge of the cliff and jump, they hold hands and all jump together, with or without their 3-foot helper monkey. So how come we haven't heard more about that? But I understand.
They have ways.
Yes. Burger King, here's a little piece of good news. Go out there and get some Burger King, even though we hate their food, but get what do they got that's any good? Nothing, I guess.
I'll get back to you.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah,
those croissant sandwiches with bacon and cheese, man, those are good. Hold the egg, please.
Have a BK breakfast.
Yeah. They have excellent breakfasts. And I think they got French toast, too, don't they?
Yeah.
They got pretty good breakfasts at Burger King. So go there and celebrate at Burger King because, number one, it's a local company, and number two, hamburger chain Burger King said yesterday that it would not run its commercials during a controversial program about U.S. presidential candidate John Kerry to be aired by fascist Sinclair Broadcast Group. Sinclair on Tuesday backed away, like all of a sudden it was a hot potato, from airing a documentary critical of Kerry's Vietnam War-era record, but said it would show portions of that film in a special program that discusses allegations he betrayed fellow veterans with his anti-war activities. In other words, he came home and told the truth, and that was bad. Burger King's move suggests advertisers may not be assured the new program's format averts political controversy. Democrats have branded plans to air the program as a blatant partisan attack less than 2 weeks before the election. Sinclair broadcast in key states like Florida and Ohio, whose voters could decide a close election race. Some of the company's top executives have been major contributors to President Bush and his fellow Republicans, but Burger King issued a statement that said it doesn't endorse any candidate or political party. In response to the controversy, Sinclair said on Tuesday it would not air the entire documentary Stolen Honor, Wounds That Never Heal, which accuses Kerry of betraying fellow Vietnam veterans by testifying more than 30 years ago.
About 30, man.
About atrocities he said were committed by U.S. forces, which we know they were, but nevertheless don't confuse Sinclair with the truth.
Why do you hate America?
Baltimore-based Sinclair said it would... Do we have enough time? Baltimore-based Sinclair said it would instead broadcast an hour-long program on Friday called a POW story, Politics, Pressure, and the Media, about the use of documentaries to influence voting that would include a discussion of Kerry's anti-Vietnam War activity. And by the way, I should point out that not all of their stations are going to carry this. They've backed off big time. They ran away, and they're trembling. They're shaking in their boots. Sinclair shares fell nearly 17% after the controversy began earlier this month, with investors concerned about a potential advertising boycott or legal threat. This is facts now. This is, oh yeah.
Thank you.
Well, look at that. I was right for once in my life. Well, this is only a year and 1 year.
Oh, is that all it is? I was going to get it.
Because he asked me about when Clinton was... October 1st, 2003, just over a year ago, the price of crude oil was...
About 30, man.
And now, of course, it's like close to $55. As a matter of fact, I can take a look for you again right now if you want to get depressed. And the media, once again, just glossing this over like this isn't going to have any impact. The price of oil impacts just about every aspect of the economy, from the airline industry. Everything has to be transported, from the groceries that you buy, produce, you name it, everything. But, don't confuse this with the facts, right? Because it's not good for the administration. Let's see. Sooner or later, this thing will... Well, they're in a commercial, so like I said, I can't take more than like 15
seconds. I'm going to put
seconds.
this up, but it's in color. I found a nice chart here. You want me to email it to you? Of the oil prices.
Oh.
crude oil prices.
Well, we don't want to clutter up with all kinds of stuff on here. Let me say it again. I direct you immediately, if not sooner, if you're really concerned, if you're following this election closely, which I hope a lot of you are, as opposed to just the mouth-breathing idiots that want to see boobies, and Pete, who's upset that we got Nicole Richie on there today. Oh, I'd rather see Lionel Richie than Nicole Richie. Yeah. How about Fat Richie? We'll send him over for you, okay? You ought to see his boobies.
Now, which hot pictures are you posting, Pete?
Yeah. He couldn't get laid in Amsterdam in the red light district, Pete. 650 votes. Which of these best describes George W. Bush? Dimwit, 247. Smirking Chimp, 189. Commander and Thief, 101. Lesser of Two Evils, 49. Strong Leader, 35. We are definitely getting freaked, by the way. Resolute, 15. And Bozo's moved up to 14. So let's see. The positive, 12, 14, over 15%. Now, there's no way in God's green earth that over 15% suddenly of this audience are Bush people. So you know we're getting freaked, a little freak action there. Anyway, what I was starting to say, go to neilrogers.com, and after you look at Nicole Richie and decide whether Pete is right or not, and quite frankly, we don't give a flying crap, take a look at the great stuff that Eric has got on there, including that one in USA Today, which quite frankly, that's also involved with a Gallup poll, and I just am a little leery of that. Plus, this one has got Kerry ahead, so naturally I like it more. You believe whatever poll tells you whatever you want to hear. You know, that's just human nature. That's the way we are. But it's a beautiful, full color, all nice, pretty colors, man. And then it's also got links to, like, for example, the one at the state poll tables. And if you click on that one, Bush 56, Kerry 32, and Nader's got one in Alabama. Wow. 5670560, pound 560 on the Verizon and Singular wireless lines. WQAM, hello.
Hey, guys, how are you? Good afternoon.
Pretty good.
Neil, I wonder if you can give me the title of that article you read yesterday about Jesus being a liberal and how it compares to the Republicans. You know, it was just right on the money, man.
It was on our website yesterday, so if you go to our website, you can go to the archives. Just click on yesterday's date. It was on there.
It was on there yesterday?
Yeah.
All right. I love how more of these Republicans are voting Democrat. You know, it shows how these middle-class morons registered Republican are regretful because these GOP Nazis are crapping on everyone but the rich.
I guess we must have a lot of rich people out there, that we don't know about.
Apparently so.
Maybe the people in the trailer parks can afford to live better. They just want to be modest in their means, you know.
I guess so, you know, and I just can't stand these negligent Orthodox conservatives condemning the liberals, you know.
Jesus,
and the L word.
No, the name of the article is Wasn't Jesus a Liberal? And if you go to yesterday's articles, it's right on there.
It says, Wasn't Jesus a liberal?
Right.
Okay, yeah, man, because we can't afford 4 more years of this, bumbling Bushmeister.
God forbid. Okay,
pal. You know what I mean? Go Kerry.
Have a great day. 5670560. Yeah, this whole idea, it appeals to such the lowest level of banality. That's what they appeal to, and that's why the mouth breathers in all them red states. Take a look at that map again. I'm sorry I got off of that map. Take a look at those red states, man. I keep telling you this. It's the freaking God's darn truth. That's as close as I can come to saying what I used to be able to say because Joyce is a hard ass. And because these people cave like a piece of paper mache. Anyway, take a look at that map. Look at those dark red states. Those are the ones that strong Bush. Texas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, Oklahoma, I already said that, Kansas, Nebraska, South Dakota, North Dakota, Montana, George, Wyoming, Idaho.
You do what?
And Utah and Alaska. Those are the ones, the dark red. And now stop and think about the people who live in those dark red states, okay? And what's the first thing that comes into your mind?
We got a Leo pretty now.
Yeah, that's the first thing that comes into my mind when I think about those states. 5670560, pound 560 on the Verizon and Singular wireless lines. WQAM, hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Neil.
Yeah.
How are you?
Great.
Old-time listener from the Jerry Wichner days.
Oh, my God.
And I've been listening to you ever since.
Wow.
And I got to tell you about this election. After 2 months ago, I'll be honest with you, I was going to vote for Bush. A few friends of mine got really angry with me, and they gave me some literature to read, and went to go see Fahrenheit, and saw it 3 times, and going to see it one more time. And I'll tell you, I would rather see the Dolphins have 4 more years of a losing season than see Bush in office 4 more years.
Good for you, man. Excellent.
So I am going to vote for him, and I am going to vote soon. Now, I have a request. I heard a bit about you have a new Dolphin song or something. Would you please play that for me, an old pal here? I would love to hear the rest of it.
It's coming up momentarily.
Thank you, Neil.
Okay.
God bless.
Get out there and vote a few times, pal.
I'm going to vote.
All right. Thank you. 26 past noon at 560 WQAM. The Dolphins, who the hell are they? Oh. You notice, I don't know, I don't listen to the rest of the station, to the sports show, so I have no idea, although I'm sure there's much gnashing of teeth. But I just get the feeling that basically everybody's thrown in the towel and said, what else is going on, you know? Am I right?
Huh?
Yeah. I'm asking Josh, I'm not asking you. What the hell do you know about it? Like all of a sudden, I'm sure we have a lot of new Red Sox fans, correct?
Huh?
Oh, yeah, they're walking around the building.
Yeah, we have a lot of bandwagon jumpers. Just like all those Red Wing fans, you know, the people wouldn't know a hockey puck from a Lender's bagel. Poor Sam, he's still dead. Hey, speaking of food, Emerald Coast, South Florida's best Asian buffet, is excited to announce the arrival of Lobster Fest. It's going on right now as I speak. Every weekend night, come in and enjoy as much Maine lobster as you can shove down your fat face. That's right, all-you-can-eat lobster. Who else in South Florida would even dream of doing this? Also, Emerald Coast is serving lobster bisque, Jonah stone crab, roasted duck, and grilled seal. Emerald Coast is no ordinary Asian buffet. The service is impeccable. I'm not sure I can say that. And you can never leave on an empty stomach, I guarantee you that. You'll walk out there, you'll waddle out of that joint. Start off your delicious eating experience with any or all of 6 different mouth-watering soups. Dozens of succulent entrees like New York strip made to order, as well as grilled salmon. If you still have room, try out their hand-carved prime rib, their new Thai specialties. And don't forget, you'll never walk out with that MSG headache, because guess what? They don't use any MSG. They don't use any cornstarch, no crap. They cook all of their fine cuisine only with cholesterol-free oils. The buffet at the Emerald Coast features a humongous salad bar, full Chinese food lineup, and their brand new sushi bar, too. And because you deserve it, Emerald Coast features a full dessert station featuring Belgian waffles, pies, cakes, pastries, ice cream with all your favorite toppings, even fresh fruit. You can't beat it with a stick. 3 locations for you. You'll find the Emerald Coast in Sunrise, Sunny Isles, and Pembroke Pines. So take the whole family or book your next business luncheon right now. Takeout and delivery available, too. They were voted #1 by the prestigious Zagat Restaurant Reviews and even by WSVN News as South Florida's best Asian buffet. You eat there once and you'll agree. Call them at 954-572-3822. 954-572-3822 for information on the world-famous Emerald Coast Chinese Buffet.
You're listening to Neil Rogers exclusively on 560 QAM.
Oh my God, your breasts are beautiful.
Absolutely.
Miami has the Dolphins, they're the worst football team. They flub the ball from goal to goal like no one's ever seen. They're on the ground, that's where they'll stay. They're never in control. And when you say Miami, you're talking toilet bowl, 'cause they're the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins number. How many teams in the league? 32. Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. Don't bet on them, you'll always lose. They don't know how to tackle. They don't know how to block. Their coaches ought to tell them to put Bengay in their jocks. Then they would run much faster, and even in defeat. When we go to the stadium, we'll see Miami Heat, and they're the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins number. How many teams in the league? 32. Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. The team that hasn't got a clue. Miami has the Dolphins, but the Dolphins have no fans. Just 50,000 sitting in the stands. They watch the game and all they do is moan and gripe and bitch. I wonder how Joe Robbie got to be so damn rich. And they're the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins number. How many teams in the league? 32. Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. I hear the crowd begin to boo. The Dolphins have Jay Fiedler. That quarterback's a Jew. Run down the field and he will throw a pass over you. He'll never win a Super Bowl. You shouldn't be surprised when when he gets cut, that doesn't mean that he was circumcised. And they're the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins number. How many teams in the league?
32.
Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. Jay calls his signals in Hebrew. The Dolphins have no defense and their offense is a joke. Like George Bush eating pretzels, you know they're gonna choke. They'll always disappoint you when they're in a playoff race, with fewer points than pockmarks on Huizinga's ugly face. And they're the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins number, oh what the hell, 32. Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins, now they're through.
I'm dying over here.
Rock solid.
12:35 at 560 WQAM. It's Thursday already, and still nobody's gotten fired. They haven't dropped the first shoe, much less the other shoe, and I don't get it. Everybody I talk to says the same thing. We just don't know what the hell Wayne's waiting for. Somebody's got to, right? Something's got to give.
Well, he says he doesn't plan on it.
Well, how many games in a row can they lose before he decides to do something?
About 30, man.
And they got a shot, I think. Think they got a shot? Jimmy said we got a shot. And then there are rumors about bringing that fat turdburger back as the general manager. That's the last thing they need with that greasy hair of his. Who the hell needs him?
It's acrylic.
Experts see, huh?
It's acrylic.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Experts see high turnout in presidential vote. That's going to be the key. You know, you look at all these polls, state by state, and it's tighter than a witch's earlobe. But the fact of the matter is, that proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that that's all depends on who shows up. And, of course, whose vote gets counted. And speaking of that, Bobby Wexler's on CNN right now. I say Bobby Wexler for president. Oh! There you go. And you know who else they've got debating him about the paper trail on the voting machines? Miss Mark Foley. And she looks really fey today. It must be Fey Thursday, you know it? What? Unprecedented get-out-the-vote efforts by Democrats, Republicans, and a host of partisan and nonpartisan groups will likely drive turnout in the presidential election significantly higher than in 2000, political analysts are saying now. The two parties and various interest groups will spend hundreds of millions of dollars more this year than in 2000, according to Donald Green, a political scientist at Yale University and co-author of a book about turnout. We calculate a rough return of one extra vote for every $50 spent on mobilization efforts, so an extra $200 million in the system, which may be a reasonable estimate, might produce 4 million new votes. Look at that Miss Foley on there. Are you looking at that? Look at her, man. She's got enough pancake makeup on there to drown the Titanic. The exact amount being spent on such efforts is impossible to know because many of the groups doing the spending are not required to disclose the source of their funds, but the anecdotal evidence is impossible to ignore. That anecdotal evidence. A large number of organizations are putting in money and efforts in a way unlike any mobilization we've seen in the past. We are definitely on track for higher turnout, said Ken Stroup of the University of Virginia Center for Politics. Around 51% of the voting age electorate turned out in the 2000 election, 2% higher than 96, but 4 points lower than in 92. Of course, in 92 you had you had Ross Perot in there. You had Bush 1 and you had Clinton and you had Ross Perot. Roll up our sleeves and do. Dust off them old studies, open up the engine and do. And he just do-do-doed all over Larry King and everybody else. Ross Perot. That goes to show how many stupid people there are out there. Oh, I got a great article by that columnist you don't like and that website you hate.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll get to it. It says the conventional wisdom is that higher turnout generally helps Democratic candidates because it draws in voters who are younger and less educated, constituencies that generally favor Democrats. However, that may not happen this year. Generalizations can't be applied this time, Green be saying. Neither party is going about this in a random manner. They're both targeting their efforts. It's a question of which side can bring a larger army to the battlefield. That's the thing, like I said, who gets them out? Studies have shown that turnout increases with age and education, that married people are much more likely to vote than singles, and that married people with children vote in higher proportions than those without. Both parties have developed a sophisticated database, each with names of more than 150 million voters, and information such as whether a person is married, owns a home, has children, their shoe size, their tattoo number, his or her party ID, and which past elections a person voted. How do you like that?
I like it.
They're watching you, baby. I'm telling you that right now. And in your case, you better watch it. They'll take your raft away. And then when Castro actually finally croaks, you know, they must have shown that thing in regular motion in
Right.
slow-mo and freeze
Backwards.
frame. How many times just this hour?
About 30,
On CNN, over and over again as Fidel takes a flop. It's a beautiful thing. It is kind of fun to watch. The problem with him, though, is he just keeps getting back up again. 567-0560, Verizon and Singular Wireless lines, pound 560, it's free. WQAM, hello.
Yeah, hi, I'd like to talk to Neil.
Speaking.
Neil!
Yep.
How you doing?
Great.
Hey, couple of things. First off, George does a great job when you're away.
Sensational.
Also, I voted yesterday early. I'm ex-Navy Vietnam era veteran. I voted for Kerry.
All right. Excellent. Again.
One more thing. No more Bushmit. No more years. This guy's
Okay.
got to go.
No more years. I like it. Okay, thanks, Pally. Good job.
Hey, real quick, one request. Could George do a archive on the beaded curtain thing? Because I don't check it every day.
No.
Can't do it?
No.
That's him saying no. He's just being a hard ass. I don't know. It's just that they don't want to do it.
All right.
So don't miss it.
want
That's the
them
bottom
checking
line.
in
Don't
every
miss
day.
it.
All right.
Good
all
luck,
right.
Pally. Hang in there. Okay. Now, why are you so adamant about that?
For many reasons. Number one, we do want them checking in every day. Since the stories change every day, we want them to see the stories change every day. Second of all, if we leave the archives on there all the time, there's no reason for, how do I explain it?
Oh, and listen, I just got confirmation. This is exciting news. Anybody in Florida who votes for Nader will be shot in the kneecap.
You're listening to Neil Rogers exclusively on 560 QAM.
To South Carolina and Oklahoma and Arizona and North Dakota and New Mexico. And we're going to California and Texas and New York. And we're going to South Dakota and Oregon and Washington and Michigan. And then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House.
And now, a word from Howard Dean's wife.
Hi, hello there. I'm Dr. Judith Steinberg, wife of presidential candidate Howard Dean. You can call me Judy, not Judge Judy. That's a different miskite. People want to know why I'm hardly ever on campaign trail with Howie. Hey, did you get a good look at me in Iowa? I scare the crap out of myself. I make Frau Verbissen and look like a Shayna Poonam. Stop me if I'm bombarding you with too much Yiddish, huh? Anyway, Howie says after I showed up, his numbers drop it. Know what I say? That's a bunch of mishigas. For those of you who don't capiche the Yiddish, that means crap. Howie's a good guy, though he's what you might call a loose cannon. He's got a pretty bad temper on him. I remember one time, one of our kids left the cap off of the toothpaste. I thought he was going to blow a gasket. The veins popped out in his head, and that white spit strings were going in the corners of his mouth. He went Meshuggah. I spent 23 years with this Shagets. Most of the time he's a mensch, but on occasion, I hate him. I think my husband Howie would make for a very good president. One of the things I'm a little PO'd about is that Howie doesn't let us have a TV. I want to watch Sex in the City, I got to schlep down to campaign headquarters or to the Kroger's to watch on some tiny black and white set. I have never seen any program in color, so I'm no Jackie Kennedy. Hell, if you look at me, I'm no Ted Kennedy. I don't wear makeup. I'm like a whisker away from being Amish. Don't expect to see much more of me during the campaign. The only reason I'm addressing you today is because I was able to chew through my restraints. Anyway, gazak gesund. That's Yiddish for Dr. Judith Steinberg. Over and out.
Paid for by the committee to elect John Kerry president.
1247 at 560 WQAM. So where did we get that? Is
absolutely correct, sir.
Right on it. He's got his thumb right on it. He says if the surge in voter registrations can be trusted, the turnout for the presidential elections on November 2nd may be the highest in history. That's the good news. The bad news is that most of the people who go into the voting booths will be casting an uninformed vote based on belief in skewed information from biased sources. Too many polls show too many Americans get their news from too many partisan sources and seldom, if ever, take the time to obtain both sides of an issue before making a decision on where they stand. Conservatives tune in faithfully to partisans like Rush Limbaugh, who dispense their bile-filled misinformation from the sewers of ignorance. Liberals get their so-called facts from the likes of Al Franken. For both Limbaugh and Franken, conning the stupid is far too easy to do with the ignorant masses who use their brains only as receptacles for partisan propaganda and not for any attempt at independent thought. Yes, you read that right. I'm saying Americans are, by and large, ignorant, uninformed louts who follow their political leaders like mindless lemmings and believe only what they're spoon-fed by liars and professional hucksters. He's got a picture in this article, by the way, of Bush with a dunce cap on. It's a beautiful thing. Sadly, the most powerful, most affluent nation in the world is overrun with brain-dead cretins who wouldn't know a fact if it kicked them in the shins. But what possible use could facts be for such morons? They certainly wouldn't learn any truth from the presidential campaigns, not with the TV and radio airwaves filled with inaccurate political advertising, not from two presidential loonies spewing out distortions and inaccuracies at every campaign stop, and certainly not from a media that serves more as a spreader of propaganda than a seeker of truth. America is a nation of fools that elect fools to office and then stand by and watch this ship of fools sail unawares into the Bermuda Triangle. What these malcontents have done is turn this nation into a sick sow, bloated and overweight from political pork and decaying from the cancer of scandal and corruption. Only an idiot could think electing any of the candidates on the presidential ballot will solve the ever-growing problems facing this nation. Bush and Kerry are byproducts of the disease called the American political system, toxic waste from the sewers of Washington, a town that the EPA should condemn as a Superfund site. America is sinking into the mire and muck of its own self-indulgence and ignorance. An informed populace might be able to save it, but the odds are much greater that all the uninformed masses can do is finish the destruction that's already started. I mean, not very uplifting to say the best, but he's got his thumb right on it, I think.
Yeah.
And you'll love the picture of Bush with the dunce cap on, his hand up to his head. It's a beautiful thing. I don't know why you don't like that website.
I don't know.
Anyway, it's called Government of the Stupid, by the Stupid, and for the Stupid. I believe it is on our website now, is it not? John?
Yeah.
Because I think I emailed, I think that's from yesterday, or maybe today, whatever. 5670560, pound 560 on the Verizon and Singular wireless lines. The good news is that Bozo has surpassed, whatever the other one was, on our poll. It's passed up, oh no, look at that. Yeah, it has, Resolute. Resolute's dropping in last place. 792 votes. Maybe they stopped freeping now that Eric put the little thing there on our website. Please feel free to freep our poll. The proceeds help to fund our gay agenda. That always seems to stop them in their tracks. Jeepers Creepers, we've done it again with the freepers. 792 votes. Dimwit, 291. El Presidente, Dimwit. Smirking Chimp, 232. Commander and Thief, 124. The Lesser of Two Evils, 55. Strong Leader, 42. Bozo, 29. It's moving up the ladder nicely. And Resolute, 19. So you add the positive ones together. You got 7.6 and 6.9 is 14. Oh, 14 and a half still. Which is kind of shocking when you come right down to it, that there could be that many stupid people out there. But there are. And, of course, we never know that from the calls we get. WQAM, hello.
Hey, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Blessed is the peacemaker, right? That's what it says in the Bible?
Yeah.
Now, what are we doing going over there with gun barrel diplomacy?
Spreading democracy.
You're not going to win over anybody over the Christian side sticking a gun in their face, number one. And number
Just
two
remember
is,
what I said, pal. Religious fanaticism, that's the cancer, that's the worst threat to civilization today. Don't ever forget it.
right, and you can't push your religion on other people. That's what the Bible talks about. It says, wipe your feet off, go on to the next town.
Well, wipe off your finger, right? That's always a good idea.
To keep from becoming the slaves of the rich Petsanavante. I made confession, Connie. I confessed my sins.
Why, Michael, it's not like you. You don't have to confess your sins to a stranger.
I was the man. A good man. A true priest. He can change things.
You know, sometimes I think of poor Fredo. And it was God's will. It was a terrible accident. But it's finished.
It was God's will, you know. He didn't say enough Hail Marys. That was Fredo's problem, because he was smart. Not stupid. He was smart.
Not like people say.
Right. 5670560, pound 560. You'll never guess what I have on that tape, that little clip there a little bit later on. I'll find it. I got the donkey thing.
Oh.
Remember that?
Yeah, I do.
I'll find it. And then I got some more of that bad acting there by Eli Wallach. Que pane, Oli Oliva. Oh, brother. Wow. Even Tony Oliva's upset with that routine. WQAM, hello.
Who's your daddy now, Neil?
WQAM, hello.
Why do you want to kill Shivo?
WQAM, hello. QAM. Hello. Going once.
Hey.
Yes, sir.
I think they misspelled the last word on the category as bozo, put an N in there, and it's bonzo. Remember the movie with Ronald Reagan?
No, Bedtime for Bonzo? I never heard of it. Now I know how Renfield felt. 567-0560, pound 560 with his hands on the Verizon and Singular wireless lines, maybe with his claws. WQAM, hello.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
I'm talking yesterday to my girlfriend's grandmother about Bush's answer to the lack of a flu shot.
Abuela, yes.
And she starts going into a tirade about Cuba, because Bush doesn't let us with Cuba. That's the only defense these people have towards everything that this guy's done wrong.
Mm-hmm.
The only argument they have is, Cuba this and Cuba that.
What's he done for that?
Huh?
Yeah, what did he do for that except put a lot of hardships on the people here who have relatives over there? What else has he done?
I hate him. I don't know. He's an idiot.
Okay, thanks, pal. Thanks for the good news. Bush is an idiot. Castro fell down, and other than that, and then don't forget about Bedtime for Bonzo. I just got through reading that Doug Thompson article, and then that guy calls up to inform us that there was that Ronald Reagan movie, Bedtime for Bonzo. No. I think he just made it up, don't you?
Well.
12:56, don't forget we got the...
560 QAM. Buttheads. It's the 1 to 2 hour.
Get ready for the sorriest CD you've ever heard. Dan Rather's Sorry Duets.
I'm sorry. So sorry.
Not only does Dan sing a sorry duet with Brenda Lee, he sounds even sorrier with Chicago.
I'm sorry.
Plus, Dan Rather's Sorry Duets features this sorry sing-along with Ruben Studdard.
It's like I missed the shot. It's like I dropped the ball.
I'm sorry.
Order now, and if you're not completely satisfied, Dan Rather will personally say,
I'm sorry.
It's 1:01. We got, like I said, Mo Howard, David Edford, the Mad Dog, the Humper at 4, and then Hurricane Hotline and a bunch of stuff that, quite frankly, who cares? Eddie K at 10 o'clock. Here's some really great radio news for the 4 people listening who are inside the business. Clear Channel announced that Mark Mays, no kin to Willie Mays, has been officially named president and CEO effective immediately of the unctuous right-wing Farbissina Clear Channel. Mays has been serving as interim CEO. Oh, I like that better.
Rectum.
CEO since May 7th. Lowry Mays remains Clear Channel's chairman of the board, but of course he had that brain fart or something. Mark is the ideal executive to lead Clear Channel to an exciting future, commented Lowry Mays. He's been instrumental in the company's development and growth in the board, and I have full confidence in Mark's leadership and vision. That's what Lowry Mays said as he had several tubes coming from his nose. Not too far from the condition that Terry Schiavo was in, from what I'm hearing. Isn't that what you're hearing?
I heard all the time.
That's the rumor around the business. Speaking of the business, we got the book coming out tomorrow. The summer rating book comes out at 11:30 tomorrow. That'll kill some good time. So if Howie can go till about 10:45, 10:50, and then the numbers start pouring in at 11:30, we got it licked, so to speak. Can we say that?
No.
We got it made in the shade. Let's take a few calls, but I have a lot, I just have too much here today. Too much of a pile. And I'll never get to anywhere near of it. So I'll save it for tomorrow, I guess, if we have any show left after the ratings. And, of course, a lot of that, 2/3 of that summer book is George. It's on your broad shoulders, man.
I think Howard will get the credit, then.
And then, of course, it'll be the first month that we had Stern on here. The first time we have a full month in there in this book. So hopefully Howie, Stern, and Robin and Baba Booey and them will give us a big goose. WQAM, hello.
Yeah, Joe Rose is a flower child.
Okay, thanks for the good news. WQAM, hello.
Hey, Neil, what's up?
How you doing, pal?
Not too bad. I just wanted to make a couple comments. First one is, isn't it amazing how many Bush Cheney, banners are in front of people's lawns? And what's interesting is, I wonder how many of those people will actually go behind the polls and vote for Kerry because they're so scared to admit that they like us better.
About 30, man.
And the second thing I wanted to point out is, how come when you ask people why they support President Bush, they can't answer you with one reason, other than the fact that he defends our country from terrorists?
Oh, he's strong on terror, man. He's strong on terror, and he's a good Christian, a good man. When you shake his hand, he gives you a firm handshake.
Well, isn't it amazing that we got attacked on his watch, though?
Yeah, it is an interesting point. Isn't it also amazing that real CIA 9/11 report, the one that they won't release to Congress and to the public, that tells you the real reasons why we got attacked on 9/11 and the fact they were asleep at the switch, that they won't release it until after the election. Just a coincidence, I guess, huh? Another one of those strange coincidences. And how come the media's not screaming bloody murder about that? I think the best article I read yesterday was the one about the guy who wrote about CNN International and the difference in what he sees there. And because I've seen it with my own 4 eyes a million times. They give you really the honest-to-goodness news, what's happening in the world. But for local domestic consumption, oh, no, CNN's got to be Fox Light. In fact, it seems to me the last few weeks they're trying to be like Fox Heavy Duty. It just never stops, man. The propaganda just keeps on spewing. You can almost smell it. WQAM, hello.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
Listen, I need a little history lesson. Why is it the reason that Cubans don't like Democrats only because of the Bay of Pigs and Elian?
Well,
is that the only reason?
That's a big part of it. Kennedy, Communista, Bay of Pigs, He lied, he let him down. And then, of course, not only that, but anybody to the left of Attila the Hun is Communista. They still haven't outgrown the Cold War and that whole Communista thing, so anybody who isn't as far to the right as Batista was is Communista, and another Fidel in drag.
Oh, my God, that makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah, I haven't played that in a long time, and I love that. I love it.
Indeed.
Out of sight, out of mind. Of course, the Farbisson old Cubans are no worse than the Jews who vote based on the whole Israel thing, which, of course, last time I checked, those people living in the U.S. are not living in Israel. And if it's so great in Israel, why don't you go there and hop on a bus or maybe sit down at one of the local pizza stands and see how long you stay alive? Yeah, where you'll be safe. Like in The Godfather. I wonder if I'm going to be able to find that thing. I love this schmaltzy music.
Michael, I love you.
Sounds like incest to me.
I'll always help you.
Oh, schmaltz, man. That music is just... Doesn't it do it for you?
I'll do it now.
Oh, calming influence for all these hyperventilating people out there.
I don't feel to wipe everybody out. Just my own.
Here comes Eli Wallach, man. Out to visit the assassin and his donkey-ass son.
Donkey.
Io sono molto onorato, sono molto bello che voi avete fatto tutta questa strada da Palermo per venirmi a trovare.
Che picciarista è cresciuta. Poi a un sceicco.
Oh, wait, we let air that?
That was the little Eli Wallach raspberry, which I think Connie put that in the cannoli, as a matter of fact. It was delicious. 567-0560, pound 560 on the Verizon and Singular Wireless lines. WQAM, hello.
Yankees lose. Duh!
WQAM, hello.
Yeah, Neil, how are you?
Yes, sir. Okay.
Okay. Question. The ballots on these early voting machines, they're downloaded every night. Who's getting to look at these things? You think it's
Nobody.
Bush?
Nobody.
Because you would think Bush would and his henchmen would know what's going on here.
Supposedly nobody. I don't think anybody other than Jeb Bush and Glenda in the Hood are allowed to look at him.
Okay, because I asked
And maybe Karl Rove gets a little peek.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, thank you. Here's Katrina Vandenhoeven of the Nation who says, "You have the power, baby." She says, "I wrote nearly 12 months ago in this space about the importance of building progressive strength in 2004 and beyond, and a year later, progressives have hope in the decade ahead, thanks in part to Howard Dean." Dean's new book, You Have the Power, is an eloquent attack on Bush's failed record. At its core, however, is Dean's belief that progressives must look beyond November 2 to achieve a progressive majority. For starters, tactics matter, argues Dean, by establishing a permanent election-to-election presence on the American political scene through think tanks, foundations, and grassroots organizations. Dean writes, the radical right has achieved political power. Extremists can be beat at their own game, though. We need to have a permanent campaign, which is what the Republicans have done for the last 20 years, Dean recently argued in a Mother Jones interview, a belief echoed powerfully in his book. After Election Day, progressives can take 1 month off, and then everybody's got to get back to work. Progressive movement. Dean understands that no matter what happens next month, it's vital to continue to coordinate, organize, and build the infrastructure to drive progressive ideals into the political debate and electoral arena. In addition to publishing this excellent primer, Dean's new political action group, Democracy for America, DFA, is on its way to becoming a central station for progressive action across the country, finding and supporting the next generation of progressive leaders from school boards to Capitol Hill, and most importantly, inspiring members of what the late Senator Paul Wellstone liked to call the Democratic wing of the Democratic Party. DFA candidates, called Dean's Dozens, receive donations and volunteer assistance through DFA's efforts online and on the ground. And Dean's endorsement should not be underestimated. As one Georgia Democrat running for Congress put it jump-started my campaign. DFA has endorsed and raised money for a school board member in Huntsville, Alabama, and mayor of Salt Lake City, Utah. It's supporting relatively anonymous candidates like Democrat Richard Morrison, who's running against corrupt House Majority Leader Tom DeLay in Sugar Land, Texas, and more well-known ones like Tom Daschle, who's in a tough re-election fight in South Dakota. And DFA, working with other progressive groups, is also helping candidates running for county commission, city council, and state legislatures nationwide. In less than 8 months, DFA has supported nearly 1,000 progressive candidates for office, raised more than $1 million in its first fundraising quarter alone, and donated $756,605 to its chosen electoral fights. We're going to help build the Democratic Party by helping to keep progressives moving up and up in Democratic Party ranks, says Laura Gross, DFA's communications director. To that end, DFA has aligned itself with progressive groups such as Progressive Majority and 21st Century Democrats. What's important about this new movement, says Gloria Totten, Progressive Majority's director, is that we progressives are no longer willing to continue to be right on the issues and lose elections. Winning matters. Dean's success in 2003 and progressive future victories may well rest in part on a new politics of authenticity. Dean was a straight-talking presidential candidate who took on Bush in an aggressive and bracing way and challenged a cowed Democratic Party to get a spine transplant. As Kevin Phillips points out in his astute Washington Post review of Dean's book, the Vermont governor was and remains correct in his conclusion that when you trade your values for the hope of winning, you end up losing and have no values, so you keep losing. Dean continues to speak out for values and issues that have received too little attention in his campaign, including the importance of restoring a balance between corporate power and citizens' rights, closing the wealth gap, and fighting media consolidation so more diverse and democratic voices can be heard on airwaves across America. Holding Republicans' feet to the fire has always been one of Dean's strengths. When rumors started to circulate that Bush had held a secret post-election plan to reinstate a military draft, Dean published a column on DFA's website demanding answers from the White House about how it will meet its current commitments without resorting to a draft. He also posted a petition which will be delivered to the White House before the election. And then there's a space you can click on to find more than 90,000 others who already added their names to the petition. The man stands his ground in a fight, William Greider said about Dean in The Nation last December. When someone jabs him, he jabs back. Dean hasn't wallowed in defeat. That's exactly right. Dean hasn't wallowed in defeat. With a renewed focus on building a progressive majority in America, Dean is providing new hope by taking the fight to the radical right and DLC Democrats. Dean's message is coming through loud and clear. Progressives won't go away anytime soon. And thank the Lord for that. We love you, Howie Dean. Right. Yeah. You got it, sweetheart. Well, there's a bunch of Red Sox fans. Hey, we won the pennant. Well, congratulations. And now get a freaking life. 12 minutes after 1 at 560 WQAM. Want to tell you about our good friends over at Guaranteed Mortgage Bankers in Deerfield Beach. With over 275 different mortgage programs available to them, they will find a mortgage for you, no matter what your situation is. Recently, they helped a listener of ours who never thought he'd even be able to qualify to buy his own home. Not only were they able to get him qualified, they were able to present him with 3 different options as to the type of mortgage he could get, and work closely with him to determine which one was best, and then they made it happen for him. That's Guaranteed Mortgage Bankers in Deerfield Beach, and you can call them toll-free with positively, absolutely no obligation at 1-800-734-6616. Whether you're looking for an interest-only loan, a 30-year fixed rate,
about 30, man,
or one of the many low-rate adjustable mortgages, Guaranteed Mortgage Bankers in Deerfield Beach has what you need. They offer payments as low as $332 for every $100,000 that you borrow. Guaranteed Mortgage Bankers in Deerfield Beach can make it happen for you, too. And not only will they make your mortgage happen, they'll even send you on a cruise. That is correct. After closing your loan with these folks, you'll be able to choose one of 6 different 7-night cruises, compliments of Guaranteed Mortgage Bankers in Deerfield Beach. Call them now at 1-800-734-6616. Whether you want to purchase a new home, an investment property, or just refinance that current mortgage, these are the folks you're going to be happy to do business with. Check them on the web at guaranteedmortgagebankers.com. where you'll be treated just like family, or check them at this phone number, 1-800-734-6616.
You're listening to Neil Rogers exclusively on 560 QAM.
She's oily, soily, and old. Looks like the Quaker Oats guy. Smells from the body roll mold. Barbara Bush has Marty Feldman eyes, pulls of her eyes popped out. It happened when she realized she raised 4 criminal clowns. Barbara Bush has Marty Feldman eyes. And she's nasty, old and crafty, and she raised 4 basic Nazis. She's atrocious and takes umbrage to anyone who says they want no Bush. Walks like she's carrying a bowling ball between her thighs and has Marty Feldman eyes. She doesn't mean to talk as if she's always surprised. Teeth wiggle when she talks. She gave us George Bush and Jeb Bush, not to mention Neil and Robin Bush. Filthy, rich, and fat, and smells just like the magic sauce on a Big Mac. Barbara Bush resembles Ernest Borgnine on a bad day with Marty Feldman.
I love it. Thanks for reminding me about that. We forgot about that for a little while. Did you play it last week?
No.
See, out of sight.
Yep.
119 at 560 WQAM. Mo for the Mad Dog at 2. Mo and the Mad Dog. Speaking of the ratings coming out tomorrow, the bad news is that commercial radio is on the way out, boys and girls. Not only did Stern sign with Sirius starting in 2006, but also Major League Baseball partners with XM. Another satellite radio, it's XM and Sirius, for 11-year, $650 million broadcast and marketing agreement. So it's just, this is the cutting edge, this is the beginning, and the radio as you know it right now. How many years have I been telling you? Take your radio and throw it in the bottom of the swimming pool and just forget about it.
About 30, man.
2 years I've been telling you that. It's, it's
you
an
can thank your government.
I beg your pardon?
You can thank the government.
Thank the government for that great deregulation and for letting all these multi-complex corporations like Cheap Channel and Viacom buy up every damn station on the dial, radio and TV. Nice job. Major League Baseball XM Satellite Radio have announced an 11-year, $650 million agreement enabling XM to broadcast games of every Major League Baseball team nationwide, beginning with the 2005 regular season next year. This is the crown jewel, the deal we've been waiting for, said Hugh Pinero, CEO of XM Satellite Radio. Major League Baseball is America's national pastime, a natural fit with XM. Major League Baseball has the broadcast appeal of any major sport. People of all ages are baseball fans, from children to grandparents. It's also a sport ideally suited for radio, given its natural pace and the ability to vividly describe each play. The agreement between Major League Baseball and XM Satellite Radio is a significant step forward in providing baseball fans greater access to more games and more locations, said that schmuck baseball commissioner Bud Selig. Our fans will be able to listen to the local broadcast of their favorite teams. Oh, this is the best. Too bad they didn't have this so many years ago. I can remember way back when, back in the day. Like years when the Pirates were battling to win the pennant, and I'd be driving around late at night to try to, like when I worked in Sarasota in 73, trying to find a place where I could hear Bob Prince and Jim Woods on KDKA, or whether WWVA in Wheeling, West Virginia was coming in, and to hear the Pirate broadcast until the very last out and see if they would lose or whatever. Remember those days? Of course you don't.
Yeah, sure.
No, but seriously, I mean, that would have been great back in the day when there were announcers you wanted to hear, like Harry Carey and Bob Prince and Mel Allen and Red Barber and all the great announcers. What's his name? Jack Quinlan in Chicago. Anyway, our fans will be able to listen to the local broadcast of their favorite teams from anywhere in the country. This partnership will add to the continuing growth and popularity of our game. It's a further example of the renaissance that exists in baseball today, Commissioner Selig said. How's that NHL doing, by the way? Oh, which they just canceled some more games all the way through December the 3rd now.
You turd.
Right. So Geldy can keep talking himself into the song. And there are no negotiations going on whatsoever between the National Hockey League Players Association, the NHLPA, and the league. None. The owners. Zero. Zippity-doo-dah. Oh, there's that ham kid again. Boy, he just leaves me limp, you know? Well, it's Leaf Lunch. Let's talk some hockey. What do you say?
Pretty good. Now let's get back to Leafs Lunch with Bill Waters and Jeff Merrick on the home of the Leafs, the new Mojo Radio 640 Toronto and Leafs TV.
I guess we better not. Won't have any audience left at all. Okay, let's take a bunch of good calls here. I just mentioned that about XM because that's, unfortunately, the radio you got right now. It's, very soon going to be something like a dinosaur. 567-0560, pound 560 on the Verizon and Singular Wireless line. Look at those lines now, man. WQAM, hello.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, my name is Roger. I'm calling from a cellular in Miami Springs.
Okay, let's go to Roger in Miami Springs. Hello.
Hey, how you doing, Mr. Rogers and George?
Yes, sir, Mr. Caller.
Okay. I just wanted to ask real quick, because it's been years. I don't know if I fell asleep in that particular class, but
could have been.
Can you or somebody perhaps explain to me the importance of the electoral vote?
Well, the importance of it is whoever wins the electoral vote gets to be president. It's an anachronism. It's a dinosaur. It's something out of the past. It's stupid as all hell. And basically what it means is if you live, say, in Pennsylvania or Florida or in California, your vote is worth more than somebody who lives in Vermont or in New Hampshire or Wyoming, which is stupid.
Yeah.
It should be one person, one vote. Every vote should count the same. And why the hell they haven't gotten rid of that? In fact, if they would have abolished the Electoral College long ago, Al Gore would be president right now. We wouldn't be in Iraq. We wouldn't have all these dead people, 1,100 plus Americans. There wouldn't be thousands and thousands of dead Iraqis. And maybe by now we might have found Osama your mama, and we wouldn't be still having our hand up the butt of all the Saudis.
And you're asking why?
Our bunk butt buddies. Well, no, exactly, because this makes it easier for them to manipulate it.
That's right.
So just take a look at, like I said, at that map. Just click on that electoral thing there on our website and take a look at those red states. What do you got? In fact, the number of electoral votes individually is caca. Montana. Let me go back to it again.
Caca.
Can I do that? You know what I'm talking about.
I do.
The states where the living and breathing people are, where there's population, they've got a significant number of electoral votes, which makes them so crucial and important to win. Great job, Eric. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
The picture with Bush with the dunce cap. That right there, that alone, that is worth $1 billion right there. There's El Presidente, man. That's what you got, all you Bush people out there. That's what you want to vote for, a dunce. Anyway, North Dakota, 3 electoral votes. South Dakota, 3. Nebraska, 5. Wyoming, 3. Montana, 3. Idaho, 4. Utah, 5. I mean, you add those up, and what do you got? Squat. Right?
Oh.
Florida, you got 27. California, 55. New York, 31. Pennsylvania, 21. Michigan, 17. Where the living and breathing people are, and you'll notice it's no coincidence that in those so-called blue states, generally speaking, those are the ones where actually living and breathing people are.
You mean the left coast?
Yeah, the left coast, like New York and Massachusetts and Vermont, New Hampshire and New Jersey and Maryland and Delaware. The left coast, right. In fact, there are only 3 states, well, 4 if you count Hawaii out in the middle of nowhere, but there's only 3 states on the left coast, as they like to say, California, Oregon, and Washington, that are in the Democratic camp traditionally, and will be again this year, we hope, we pray. But the whole Electoral College thing is just part of the whole dog and pony show they put on for you. It's no way to run a railroad. It's no way to hold an election. It's just another scam and a sham. Remember them?
Who?
Scam the sham? 56705. I just love that map, and I love the picture of Bush there. It's right on the top. The first thing you'll see. You will wet your pants when you see El Presidente au natural.
You're listening to Neil Rogers. On 560 QAM.
Gosh, I don't think I ever said I'm not worried about Osama bin Laden. That's kind of one of those exaggerations. Of course we're worried about Osama bin Laden. We're on the hunt after Osama bin Laden. We're using every asset at our disposal to get Osama bin Laden. I don't know where he is. Nor, I just don't spend that much time on him, really, to be honest with you. And, again, I don't know where he is. I repeat what I said. I truly am not that concerned about him.
Right now on Access Hollywood. George, the new Kitty Kelly book, it makes you and your family look bad. Have you read it yet?
We're...
Oh, that's right. I forgot. You can't read. Sorry.
There's a level of frustration.
Your father used to help you try to read. What did he say again?
Read my lips.
Oh, yeah. You were doing so good with that hooked on phonics. Remember that?
They're Abu Garef.
Explosive action. Bill, you should really learn how to read.
Basically, I can't learn.
And you too, George. 131. I don't know why he says Bill. It just kind of throws me when he says that. At any rate, We're going to make 1,000 votes today. I know Josh gets very excited. He gets kind of a quiver in his liver. In fact, if it quivers too much, you can go on Oprah's show next week and get a brand new liver. But we got 949 votes, a half an hour to get to 1,000. Piece of cake, I think, the way I look at it. Even the Freepers can pile on there. No problem. We don't care. Win, one of our regular faxes this. Media Matters for America, a real expose of CNN, and Ricky Tikki Sanchez. What a surprise that he should be on there shilling for the right wing, huh? On October 19, well, let me just read the headline first. CNN anchor touted outdated Ohio poll showing a Bush lead, ignored recent poll showing Kerry lead. On October 19, CNN Live Today anchor Rick Sanchez, which last time I checked that was a Tuesday, continued the network's disturbing trend of touting polls that show favorable results for President George W. Bush and ignoring polls that show a lead for Kerry. Discussing the battle for Ohio, Sanchez noted a Columbus Dispatch poll that showed Bush with a 7-point lead in the swing state, and CNN provided viewers with a graphic explaining the poll. But as the show's guest, Columbus Dispatch political reporter Alan Johnson pointed out, no kin to the driver Alan Johnson from Pompano Park, pointed out to Sanchez, that poll is several weeks old. Meanwhile, Sanchez ignored more recent polling that shows Kerry with a lead in Ohio. It's got the text of the interview here. Sanchez, we're continuing our week-long look now at battleground states. Alan Johnson's a political reporter for the Columbus Dispatch. Hey, Mr. Johnson, thanks so much for being with us. And it goes on about how it showed Bush at 51, Kerry 44. Is that pretty much the pattern you've been seeing throughout the last couple of months? Neither Sanchez nor the on-screen graphic indicated when the poll was conducted. Johnson know that at this point is old news, unfortunately, because things change so quickly. It's much, much closer than that now, I think. Really, as of when? As of the last couple of weeks, that poll at this point is several weeks old. Numbers have tightened considerably since then. And then it goes on to show that that poll was conducted between September 22, October 1st. Since then, at least five publicly available polls have shown a much closer race. The most recent, October 11th through 17th, released the morning of the 19th. Before that interview, that insipid interview with Ricky Tikki Sanchez showed Kerry ahead in Ohio 48-46. Not that they're trying to brainwash the public, not that the Gallup partners in polling crime are trying to be tracking polls so mad. But don't confuse Ricky Tikki Sanchez and the people at CNN with the facts. Because they don't want to deliver you the facts, they want to deliver some good old right-wing propaganda so they can get some brownie points from their Fuhrer. Joe in South Miami faxes and says, my new girlfriend is a Cuban. Oy! And if you think regular Cubans are right-wing nutballs, you should meet her parents. They're both in their 70s and so angry they make Dick Cheney look like the sweet grandfatherly type. That couldn't be Dick Cheney that's got the bull-dyke daughter, could it? That's right. All they do is talk about how Bush is so tough on the Palestinians in Castro and what a softie Sharon is. After 15 minutes in their house, you don't know if it's worth to keep banging their daughter or just to move on. Anyway, love the show, says Joe in South Miami. Well, I'd just use her for all you can get. That's my best advice. And then dump the bitch. 5670560, pound 560 on the Verizon and Singular wireless lines. WQAM, hello.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm so glad you read about that story about Rick Sanchez. I don't understand how after the debate when George Bush said about Osama bin Laden,
yeah,
that he said all they were talking about was how John Kerry had talked about Cheney's daughter.
Right.
How do they get away? Because this is ridiculous.
Yeah, there were two things that became, the big issues out of that debate. The first one was whether Kerry should have mentioned that Mary Cheney was a dyke, as if anybody really cares, or it was a surprise, which it wasn't, or the fact that Bush lied about saying that he wasn't concerned about bin Laden. Just like I played that clip a couple of minutes ago, they had the videotape. We saw it 1,000 times the next day. And the media, in their infinite wisdom, decided that Kerry talking about Mary Cheney's lesbianism was far more important and outweighed the fact that our president took the eye off Osama bin Laden who attacked us on 9/11.
But even worse, yesterday after the Pat Robertson interview,
yeah,
I was expecting when I got home at night them to be talking about that, but instead they were talking about how Teresa Hines insulted all the women.
Right, that's right. And even Laura Bush this morning, who put on the goody two-shoes routine, said, "Oh, she doesn't have to apologize. I understand how it is, and they set you up with these trick questions. She doesn't owe me any apology." So even Laura Bush played it nice this morning, and she don't give a crap about it.
Yeah, and even when, like you said, even when they have to show a poll that's favoring Kerry, they'll just say, "Oh, it's in the margin of error." But the same thing flipped around. All you see is headline like yesterday saying on MSNBC that it's Kerry out of the race. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, Kerry's 2 points ahead. It's within the margin of error. If Bush's 2 points ahead, it's a landslide in the making.
Ridiculous. Well, let's just hope they can't steal this one, Neil.
Good luck to us, Pally. I'll see you at the border. Okay. 5670560. Let's see. Behind the Robes, Stewart finds controversy. Page 99 of the best-selling satire America, the book by Jon Stewart and the writers of The Daily Show, shows the justices of the Supreme Court as they've never been seen before, naked as in full frontal sagging nudity. The photos are obviously doctored. The heads belong to the 7 men and 2 women on the court, but the bodies are from clothesfree.com, a nudist website. Oh, we got to get that. The book also has cutouts of the justices' robes and urges readers to restore their dignity by matching each justice with his or her respective robe. Stewart's send-up of a high school textbook is number 1 on USA Today's best-selling books list for the second week. The list is published every Thursday. But Walmart, the world's largest retailer, isn't laughing. Those Nazis at Walmart, another reason to hate them like poison, say, Warner Books publisher Jamie Rabb says Walmart canceled its order after seeing the photos because the book didn't meet their criteria on potentially offensive material. So again, they will pick for you what you can watch and what you can buy and what you can see and what is offensive and what is not. Walmart spokesman Karen Burke says, we felt a majority of our customers would not be comfortable with the image of the naked justices. I guess trailer trash don't see naked people at all, huh? Except maybe on Jerry Springer. Walmart.com continues to sell the book. There's a different audience in the stores and online, she says. What a bunch of hypocrites. In other words, if they can make some money selling it online, that's okay. Money-grubbing hypocrites, they'll take your money. But in the store, it just doesn't meet up to their standards. Daily Show executive producer Ben Carlin says he's disappointed. We were hoping to be banned by a lot of mom-and-pop bookstores, but they keep selling the book. Stewart Show on Comedy Central might mention Walmart's decision this week, Carlin says, in a story about an exciting new store Walmart's planning in the shadow of Mexico's oldest and most revered ruins. Rabb says of Walmart, they're within their violent lyrics. In 2002, it pulled from its shelves a pregnant doll. In 1996, it dropped Sheryl Crow's self-titled album because of a song suggesting that Walmart sells guns to children. Walmart can account for as much as 20% of sales of popular books, but Rabb says that it's truer for commercial fiction by well-known novelists such as Nicholas Sparks than for political titles. She says, I guess the people that shop at Walmart aren't what you call politically oriented. She says Walmart ordered a modest number of copies, sight unseen, and then canceled the order. Rabb doesn't expect that to significantly hurt sales. The book promoted on Stewart's Show is selling itself, she says, and I'm always happy to have people writing about the book. How do you like that? Walmart. We got to have them reshoot that one scene in Rain Man. Yeah. Where he should say Walmart sucks.
You're listening to Neil Rogers exclusively on 560 QAM.
Neil God. And now, another tale from the cell phone of Dick Cheney. Today, Dick dials celebrity biographer Kitty Kelly.
Hello?
Yes, hello. Kitty Kelly, please.
Speaking.
Yes, Kitty, this is Dick Cheney, Vice President of the United States of America. How are you?
Fine.
That's good. That's nice.
Is there something I can help you with?
Yes. It's just that book that's coming out next week that you wrote. Frankly, we question its credibility, and I was wondering if maybe you could wait a couple of months before actually putting it out.
I'm sorry, my phone is breaking up. Did you just ask me not to print the book until after the election?
Yes. After George Bush gets reelected, print all you want. We won't care then.
Why would I want to do that? Hello?
Money grubbing.
What?
Liar.
Oh, my.
If your book's released, the terrorists win.
Huh?
You're messing with the President of the United States of America.
Okay, I'm hanging up now.
We know where you live, you dumb bitch.
Okay.
That's right. We'll get your little dog Toto, too.
Bye-bye.
What's wrong with you? Hello? Hello?
This has been another tale from the cell phone of Dick Cheney.
Look at that. The Dow is down 65 points, and oil is like $54.30 crude oil a barrel. Here's some great news for you, and this is a classic example of what we were just talking about in that last caller. The headline on the Sun Sentinel website says, and keep in mind the Sun Sentinel endorsed Kerry, but keep in mind what we were just talking about also. National poll, Bush and Kerry in dead heat. You ready?
Ready.
Just, this is still wet, and the pages too. President Bush and Senator John Kerry are locked in a tie for the popular vote, according to an Associated Press poll. Voters seem open to change in the White House. Most disapprove of the president's performance at home and in Iraq, but still harbor doubts about making the switch. Bush's strength continues to be in a perception by voters that he's the most qualified to protect the country, though his advantage has dwindled in recent weeks. Some 56% say the country is on the wrong track. Now listen, the headline said, National Poll, Bush and Kerry in dead heat. Okay, you ready?
Right.
In the AP Ipsos Public Affairs poll, the Democratic ticket of Kerry and Senator John Edwards got support from 49% of those who said they were likely to vote, and the Republican team of Bush and Cheney got 46%, within the poll's margin of error of plus or minus 3 points. This poll was taken October 18th through 20th. Following what I'm pointing out there? So Kerry's 3 points ahead, but if he's ahead and it's within the margin of error, the headline says it's a dead heat. If Bush was ahead, it would show, the headline would say, Bush continues to hold slim lead in latest poll.
That's right.
A spate of other polls show the race tied or gave Bush a slight lead nationwide. The presidency will go whoever gets the majority of the 538 Electoral College votes. We know that. Likely voters are divided on many levels. They're just as likely to back Democrats for Congress as Republicans, with a 47 to 46 split favoring Democrats. That's essentially a tie, it says. No. 24% say they've already voted or will cast ballots before Election Day. Those who voted early were just as likely to back Kerry as Bush. A third of likely voters have been contacted by a candidate campaign or outside group seeking support. 23% said they were urged to back Kerry, and 21% said they were asked to support Bush, a sign that the two massive get-out-the-vote campaigns have had equal success contacting voters. Less than half, 47% approve of Bush's job performance. A rating below 50% spells trouble for any incumbent, and Bush falls below that threshold on the economy, on domestic affairs, and on handling Iraq. In each case, Bush approval numbers have held steady since the AP Ipsos poll taken after the first presidential debate. That Bush performance, roundly criticized on style and substance, helped lower the president's standing against Kerry from early September, when the incumbent led in the head-to-head matchup and had higher approval scores. A majority, 51%, support the president's handling of foreign policy in the war on terror. By 7 percentage points, they think he would protect the country better than Kerry. That is similar to the AP Ipsos poll earlier this month, but down from a 23-point advantage he held in March. Voters are evenly split on who would do the best job. In Iraq, they find the candidates equally honest and likable, but Bush is viewed as much more decisive. In other words, he shoots from the hip. When he shakes your hand, like Darrell Waltrip said on CNN, it's a real man, not some lily-livered left-wing pinko commie fag. By an 18-point margin, Kerry is seen as best suited to create jobs for workers. Let me give that again. Latest AP Ipsos Public Affairs nationwide poll, Kerry and Edwards 49%, Bush and Dick Cheney 46%. Within the margin of error, but nevertheless. How do you like that?
I like it.
As the worm starts to turn. Do I have time for this? This is long, but it's too good to pass over. Well, you say Passover? I don't think I have time. Richard Kim writes the L word. The last presidential debate highlighted clear and significant differences between John Kerry and George Bush on domestic issues like minimum wage, health care, education, even gay marriage. George Bush supports a constitutional amendment banning gay marriage, while John Kerry, though he believes that marriage should be between a man and a woman, doesn't. But if you caught only the post-debate banter, you might not know this. Instead, campaign surrogates and pundits have been obsessed with whether or not John Kerry and earlier John Edwards invaded Mary Cheney's privacy by noting that the vice president's daughter is a lesbian. Did they? I don't think so. It's not like Mary Cheney's been quietly pursuing lesbianism by playing softball and raising cats in Northampton. She's devoted her entire career to providing cover for lesbian-hating organizations, corporations, and political parties. Before the 2000 campaign, she worked as a liaison to the gay and lesbian community for Coors Brewing Company, a rather masochistic occupation since Coors is just about as anti-gay as you can get. In the early 70s, Coors required prospective employees to submit to a lie detector test in which the company asked if the respondent was a homosexual, prompting Harvey Milk to organize a boycott of Coors beer. Throughout the 70s and 80s, the Coors family used generous donations from the Adolph Coors Foundation to launch right-wing groups like Moral Majority, the Heritage Foundation, and Free Congress Foundation, which coined the term the homosexual agenda in publications like Gays, AIDS, and You. Meanwhile, the company busted unions, leading to an AFL-CIO boycott, and individual family members like William Coors made racist speeches to black audiences, claiming one of the best things that the slave traders did for you was to drag your ancestors over here in chains. This statement led to a boycott by numerous minority groups. Facing a nationwide protest, the Coors family, which controls both the brewery and the foundation, executed a savvy PR campaign. In '93, they restricted the Adolph Coors Foundation's grants to Colorado organizations while spinning off $36.5 million of unrestricted assets to allow the non-Coors named, though still Coors-controlled, Castle Rock Foundation, which continued to fund far-right groups. And while Coors Brewing extended domestic partnership benefits to gays and lesbians in 95, its former CEO and favorite son, Pete Coors, is now running for Senate in Colorado on a platform that touts his support of a sweeping constitutional amendment that would not only ban gay marriage, but also eliminate domestic partnership benefits for unmarried couples. At the very center of the Coors Duck and Cover operation was Mary Cheney, who was hired as corporate relations manager for the gay and lesbian market, not because of her PR savvy, but because she was a lesbian, a Republican, and the daughter of Dick and Lynn Cheney. Not that she wasn't deeply committed to her job. As PR flash, she toured the country with 1999 International Mr. Leather to promote Coors beer in gay bars. Cheney quietly left RUC after 1 year, just as President Bush rushed to Rick Santorum's defense when the senator likened homosexuality to bigamy, incest, and bestiality, much to the dismay of the RUC. And her name is notably absent from RUC statements lamenting Bush's support for the federal marriage amendment. So it is relevant that Cheney, director of operations for her father's campaign, one that supports a constitutional amendment that would permanently install gays and lesbians as second-class citizens, is a lesbian. You bet it is. Mary Cheney has made it so. She's the very embodiment of Republican hypocrisy on gay issues. I'm choked up about it. Kerry's talking about stem cells.
He treated every single day.
Anyway, the article goes on to say, I take it that this is the kind of hypocrisy that Kerry and Edwards meant to call out during their debates, but I wish they'd done it more directly, less clumsily. Instead of seizing moderator Gwen Ifill's invitation to hammer home the discrepancy between Bush and Cheney's views on gay marriage, Edwards' unctuous testament to how much Dick and Lynn love and embrace their gay daughter essentially let Cheney off the hook. Instead of preposterously claiming to know Mary Cheney's opinion of the origins of homosexuality, why didn't Kerry go on the offensive? Why not simply point out that Bush's just professed love for dignity, tolerance, respect, and a free society are incompatible with a discriminatory amendment that would curtail rather than expand constitutional rights? Why not note that half of all Americans oppose the federal marriage amendment, including Bush's vice president? In framing the gay marriage issue in terms of the familial and the personal, the Kerry Edwards campaign played into the compassionate conservative strategy that allows Republicans to appear as if they're supporting individual gays and lesbians while they actively pursue homophobic policies. Now Dick and Lynn Cheney look like proud supportive parents of a lesbian daughter they righteously defended from attack. And John Kerry is the one accused by William Safire and David Brooks of gay baiting. Does anybody remember the topsy-turvy shuffle? Which party would have preferred to keep lesbianism not just private, but also illegal?
You're listening to Neil Rogers exclusive.
You drudge packing? Yes.
Welcome back to hour 19 of the Al Franken Show. I'm Al Franken.
And I'm Catherine Lamford.
Now, it's been brought to my attention that I don't know how to do a radio show. Well, let me assure you that this is cutting-edge radio. And to illustrate what I refer to as theater of the mind, we have for you today a new Robert Smigel cartoon. Always a panic. Could you roll that for us, please? Yes. Oh, look at that. Now, this is hilarious, ladies and gentlemen. I can't stress enough how funny and entertaining this can be. It's over now. Oh, I thank you for that. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm certain our audience did as well. Now, do we have a break? Is this a weak break or a strong break? Yeah, another week break? Yeah, okay. When we come back, we'll be joined by TV legend Soupy Sales, who will engage us in a pie fight.
Bye! Our special Neil Rogers and Sports Around the Clock. WQAM, Miami, Fort Lauderdale.
I love eating nuts.
I eat grapes. I'm a grape eater.
Doi.